Hey, is that better? Can you hear me now? Is that better? I got a phone call. And so it mutes you guys when I have a phone call, but I guess it never unmuted when I got off the phone call. I'm sorry. Welcome back. Hello. Hello. Okay, we're going to start this Audible. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I don't know what happened. Okay, we're going to be listening to chapter 2 of American Elsewhere. We're starting this on Tuesday nights. We already listened to chapter 1. We're doing chapter 2. So there is just a trigger warning. It is for mature audiences. Thank you for the heart me. I don't think there's a whole lot of like adult stuff, but there is some language, quite a bit of language, and some violence. So just know that if you don't want to listen to that, then this might not be the live for you. Okay? So, and we're going to start with this tree. I'm going to start this, and it's just about relaxing and listening and coloring. Okay? Okay.
Chapter 2.
Just let me know.
Mona Bright's been to some pretty piss-poor funerals in her day. But she has to admit.
Oh, yeah, I did forget we're having a givey. I forgot we're having a givey. So tap, tap, tap. I forgot that. If you, we're going to have a surprise giving at 200K tap. So y'all put your tappers on, relax, color, get your snacks. And, okay, I'm going to do this again.
This one takes the cake. It even beats her cousin's funeral in Kentucky when the grave was hand-dug in a tiny church graveyard.
Sorry, to be fair, the phone call that I just had was very aggravating, and it just ruined my mood. I'm trying to get out of it. I'm trying to like not let it get to me, but I'm holding back tears right now. Tears of frustration. So I'm fired tonight. I'm sorry.
That was a pretty medieval affair, she knows. But at least then the gravediggers were all family members, and they treated the ceremony with a little dignity. Here, in this miserable potter's field, in the middle of nowhere, there was no one to attend but her and the gravedigger, a local contractor with a backhoe, who currently has his rattling old vehicle parked just beside the open grave. He hasn't even turned it off. He just has it idling. He sits on the footstep, and when he isn't wiping his face clean of sweat, he's eye-fucking her something fierce. Already, she can see him formulating any number of lines he hopes might magically translate this sordid little afternoon into a quick fuck in whichever motel is closest.
Guess there is some adult stuff, my bad.
What his next job is. He's surprised and thinks and says, well, they got a parking lot they need leveled off in Bayton. Christ, she thinks. Grave digging at 2, parking lot at 3. What an interesting little county her father chose to die in. You got anyone else coming? He ventures. Doubt it. Well, you want to go ahead and get on with the show? There isn't any minister coming or anything? I believe you have to schedule him. So it isn't an automatic civil service?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
She asks.
I've read the Gray series, so.
I thought this was God's country. Not for free, it isn't, says the gravedigger. Where they are is Montana City, Texas, which is a joke of a name. It can only be called a city in that it has 2 traffic lights. One is broken, but they don't count.
Amber, they're out in your neck of the woods.
Mona had the option of transferring her father up to Big Spring, which is bigger in the sense that a gnat is bigger than a flea. But she doesn't see why she should foot a dime.
Oh, and just to catch up on if you missed the last week, this woman is a cop, and her father dies, and she inherits this property he had that she did not know anything about, which is like way out in this weird place. So she's going out there now to see this place she didn't even know he had. And that's where we pick up. Sorry.
She has to plant her father, Earl Bright III, deep in this godforsaken soil. After all, he was a horrific skinflint, and it feels appropriate to stick him in a stretch of earth just as begrudging and hostile as he was in life. The gravedigger climbs into his backhoe. You want to say something? She thinks about it and shakes her head. It's all been said. He shrugs, revs the engine, and starts it forward. Mona watches impassively behind her silvered sunglasses as the crumbly clay earth tumbles down to embrace the pine coffin below. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, yada yada yada. Earl, of course, had not been foresighted enough to write a will, so all of his belongings enter the complicated and cryptic world of probate.
I just spoiled this chapter for y'all. I forgot that I already listened to this chapter just to make sure that it wasn't anything super crazy. And I just told you everything that's going to happen. I forgot y'all hadn't listened to that yet. What y'all missed was like I don't know. I'm just going to shut up. Hey, Christy.
Or at least it would be complicated anywhere else. But here, the judge plans to go elk hunting in a week, so they cut down the time before the airship proceeding accordingly. Because, honestly, who cares? On the appointed hour, Mona dutifully appears at the local probate court, a low-ceilinged place filled with the reek of burned coffee. It looks as if it moonlights as a VFW hall. There's a moment of confusion when the officials see Mona, for though Earl was as white as snow, Mona's looks are all her mother's, so she is quite Mexican. But Mona was prepared for this. She has to be in Texas. And the appropriate forms and badges of identification mostly quell the questions.
Thank you for the share.
Then they get down to business. Of a sort. The judge is present, but he's got his feet up on the table and is utterly absorbed in his newspaper.
Thank you for the roses.
Mona doesn't mind. The easier this is, the better, because she's looking for something specific. A treasure Earl would have never parted with, even in his most extreme old age. His 1969 cherry red Dodge Charger. The pride and joy he spent most of his life on, and which Mona was forbidden from ever driving. As a teenager, she often dreamed of sitting in its leather seats and feeling the motor burst to life with the push of the pedal. The vibrations of the pistons dancing up the steering shaft and into her arms. Once, on a hot summer evening when she was 16, she tried to steal it for the night. She hadn't even gotten out of the garage before he caught her. Even today, the resulting scar hasn't healed. So it's a very bitter grin that blossoms on her face when the gray-faced little court officer informs her that, yes, that vehicle is still licensed to Mr. Bright, and as the deceased never indicated
Tucker, thank
who
you
it
for the
should go
follow.
to, she can claim it if she is willing. By God, I am willing, sir, she says. I am damn willing. All right, he says, and makes a note. And what about his other properties? This comes as a surprise. Judging by his living conditions, her father had...
Look, when Stephanie said she lived 8 hours away, I was like, oh, she's from Texas too.
He had a miserable and penniless life in this tiny town. What other properties did he have? She asks. Oh, a fair few, the officer tells her. The car, for instance, is located at a storage unit with several of his other belongings. And these are hers if she wishes. She shrugs and says, why not? There's a small sum of cash, which she takes. There are also a few parcels of land.
I know, I've drove across it once.
These, Mona turns
It's
down.
a whole country by itself.
She's well aware that her father has sold any land worth selling and has been living off the proceeds. The rest is unsellable scrub. The officer nods and tells her that just leaves the matter of the house. No, sir, I do not want that flea-infested shack he was living in, she tells him.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you're new here, hi. On Tuesdays, we've started a little series of listening to an Audible book while we color, but only on Tuesdays. So if you come here any other time, I'm usually I'm coloring, but not always listening to a book. So welcome in. I usually do like tutorials, color along, things like that. We're listening to American Elsewhere. We're on chapter 2 on Audible.
Well,
And just, I have it on the screen, but just in case you missed it, this is recommended 18 plus. There are some violence and language and some I don't know what all. It does look good now, don't it? It does look good.
Good, because he didn't own that, he says. That he was renting. This would be a house left to him in... He checks the paper.
Thank you,
New
Ghoul.
Mexico. It's what? In New Mexico? I never heard of him owning a house out there. The officer turns the document around to show her. Looks like he didn't originally, he says. It was left to him,
good.
but went unclaimed. In his case, it was left to him by one Laura Gutierrez Alvarez. At that, Mona is almost struck dumb. Though the clerk is nattering on about New Mexico law and uniform probate law, Mona can hardly hear a word of it. Mama, she thinks. Mama had a house. Mama had a house in New Mexico? Then, slowly, her shock turns to rage. She cannot believe that the old bastard never told her that. For years, she
Hey,
peppered him with
Xavier.
questions about
Thank
her
you
mother,
for the heart
whom she
me.
barely remembers, save for a few childhood images of a thin, trembling woman who wept constantly and stared out of windows, yet never went outdoors. Mona never knew that her mother had once had a life beyond their tiny West Texas home. Yet here, recorded in the
How are
fading
you?
ink of an ancient typewriter, a paper tells her of a paper that tells her of a deed in her mother's name, which in turn tells her of another life far from here, a life before Earl, and Mona's own birth, and all the bitter years they spent together as her father roughnecked across the country.
I'm doing well.
What else can you tell me about it? She asks. Well, not much. There's nothing else in the original will, which is pretty basic. I suppose your father never acted on it. Never? He just sat on it? Seems that way. The will itself has an expiration date of, he checks, 30 years. Something about this troubles Mona. 30 years from Earl's death? No, says the official. He checks the papers. This would be 30 years from the date of your mother's death. Mona closes her eyes and thinks. Fuck. What? Says the official. Something wrong? Yeah, says Mona. That means it expires in... She does some math in her head.
Bobbie Goods, the
11
new
days. Oh,
summer break.
the official whistles lowly. Well, better get a wiggle on, I suppose. Mona gives him a prime, no-shit glare, then squints to read the home's address. 1929 Larchmont, Wink, New Mexico, 87207. Mona frowns. Wink, she thinks?
Good. I'm out for
Where
the
fuck is
summer.
Wink?
I only have 2 semesters
The
left.
question stays on her mind as she drives into Big Spring to track down her father's storage unit. It even pushes out all the thoughts of the Charger. She's never felt there was much to know about her father. And what else was there besides the bitter silences, the smell of cordite,
I know, I'm ready
and
to
the
be
silver bullet
done.
tall boy clutched in one hairy fist? Yet now she is given to wonder. If all this is true, if her mother really did leave him a house in a distant town, then he must have known at least a little about it, right? You don't just inherit a house and then stick all the knowledge of it away and forget about it, do you? It strikes her as she pulls into the storage center that if anyone would ever do such a thing, it would be her daddy.
Hey, thank you, Crystal.
just
We
the
just
type.
started. You hadn't missed too
The
much.
storage center attendant is initially suspicious of her. Not
The only thing that's happened so far is we met the main character, Mona, and her father passed. And she found out that she was left a house in the will that actually belonged to her mother, who died a long time ago. Like, she didn't really get to know her mother. And the house is in New Mexico, so she's about to go to this house. And so you hadn't missed much. But no, I don't have any big plans for the summer because I'm going to go on a cruise in Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to take it easy for the summer, which, I mean, we may travel a little bit locally. We're near the beaches and we've got a water park here. So I may do some stuff like that. But as far as like big stuff, nah. Oh, that's Sean. I know the feeling sometimes. Okay, sorry. We're gonna get also, yeah, no problem. Also, if you're new, well, if you're just coming in, Sadie, if you're just coming in, we're gonna have a giveaway at 200K taps for some acrylic pens. So y'all put those tappers on, get your snacks. We're gonna turn back on our Audible. Okay.
Just because she's asking to open someone else's unit and has to produce a lot of documents and fumble with a lot of keys to prove her case. But also because that particular unit...
Franny B leveling up in the fan club.
Finally, he
thank you, Ray, for the heart puff.
Suspects his objection was mostly
Guthrie,
fueled by
thank
a
you for
reluctance to
follow.
get out of his chair rather
Hey,
than
Ray.
some professional honor. And he leads her through the maze of boxes and metal doors to one of the larger storage units at the far back. Is he dead for reals? Asked the attendant. He is for real as dead, says Mona. I've seen him. If that's the case, you got a week to clear all this out, just so you know, he says. And he unlocks the unit and sends the door rattling up. Mona's eyes spring wide. The court officer described the storage unit as having several of his belongings, and she also recalls the term a fair few being used. But what confronts her in the storage unit is such an imposing pile of tottering shit that she is almost faint with the idea of sorting it. It'll take her 12 days at least to get a quarter of the way through it. She gets a hefty mag light from the storage clerk and a dolly to wheel some of this stuff away. She's thankful to have driven her old truck here, as it will definitely come in handy. But it doesn't take long for her to spot a shape on the side of the unit, something long with sleek angles draped in a thick tarp. She spies a tire peeking from underneath one fold, and her heart leaps. It takes her more than half an hour to get all the boxes off it, but soon the powerful form of the charger emerges from the beige clutter. When she has enough cleared, she rips the tarp off, and a cloud of dust rushes up and balloons out to fill the unit and most of the pathway outside. It's so thick it cakes her sunglasses. She waits for it to settle before she removes them, leaving flesh-colored holes in her now dusty face. She blinks. The Charger stands before her. She hasn't seen this car in 15 years, and yet it's not aged a day. It's as if it has just fallen out of a memory. Not even the dust can taint its vibrant red color.
Thank you, Ray.
It seems to fill the unit with a merry glow. She moves to touch it, wishing to confirm that this moment is indeed happening, when her toe catches one of the cardboard boxes and sends her tumbling over. She falls so fast she doesn't even have time to cry out or try to stop herself.
Thank you for the
The cement
repos,
floor
Crystal.
flies up and cracks her on the forehead. It's a solid hit, and for a moment she sees nothing but green bubbles of light bursting in a sea of black. Then one light begins to grow steadier, and she hears the mag light clattering on the floor nearby. Forms calcify in the darkness, blank gray faces all stacked in a column, and on one of the faces is a word, Laura. She realizes she's lying on the dusty floor with her cheek on the cement and her feet up on a crushed box.
Thank you,
The
E, for the
mag light is caught in
follow.
the tarp and shooting a
We
spotlight
do
on
Audible
one
on
box
Tuesday
in the tower
nights.
of
We're on chapter 2 of
But
American
it's the box
Elsewhere.
below it, the one with the word Laura written on it in Sharpie, that Mona is most interested in. That, and the state of her head. She sits up and touches her brow. There's a leak of blood forming there, and her fingers shine wetly. Fuck, she says, and looks around for something to stanch it. Seeing nothing useful, she tears off a corner of dust-covered newspaper and slaps it to her head.
Thank you so much.
Sticks. She's entirely forgotten the charger behind her. She removes the boxes on top of the Laura one and pulls the lid off. She blinks again. Her head is beginning to pound and everything feels woozy. It's hard to see into the box in the dark. She grabs the mag light and shines it in. It's all papers, like the rest of the storage unit. But these aren't papers she thinks her daddy would ever normally have. They're too official, too technical. She sees the initials CNLO in a lot of the corners, next to some kind of corporate logo, and some of them are copies of graph paper with a lot of numbers and equations on them. Then Mona spies something at the edge of the box. It's a glossy corner of a photo, she's sure. She pulls it out and examines it. It's a photo of 4 women on a back porch, seated around a wrought iron table. They're all well-dressed and holding up cocktails and laughing at the camera, which, judging by the hazy shadows and soft colors, was some kind of old Polaroid. Behind the women is an impressive vista. There are tall pines mere yards away, and behind those is a wall of immense pink crags, striated with dusky crimson. Mona doesn't know 3 of the women, but the 4th she recognizes, though never in her life did she see that face in a look of such happiness. For Mona, that face was always fearful and sad, the eyes constantly probing the room as if expecting to spy some invisible intruder. But the person in the picture is definitely her mother, decades younger than when Mona knew her, perhaps lives younger, free of years of illness and sour marriage. Mona turns the picture over. On the back, written in loopy blue ballpoint,
Hey,
are the words,
Lakeisha. Thank you for the
"Mountains
heart
are
me.
pink. To drink." She turns it back over and examines the faces. The idea of her mother, a trembling creature who needed dark, empty rooms more than life itself, having a casual cocktail with friends is beyond bewildering.
BB, welcome in. Thank you for the follow.
Mona digs farther into the box. There are more photos, evidently from the same roll of film, documenting the same afternoon party. They're all taken around the same house, and at first she thinks the house is made out of stone or mud before remembering that they have adobe houses out there, don't they? She catches only corners and stray walls of the place, but in one photo where her mother, clad in a tight, appealing blue dress, hugs a new arrival in the front walk, Mona manages to see part of the front. She holds the picture closer. There's a number on the wall beside the front door. She squints, and though the light in the unit is bad and the camera renders everything fuzzy, she believes it reads 1929. 1929 Larchmont, Mona mutters. She flips back through the photos, taking in the people, the view, but especially her mother, and the big house she apparently owned far away from here in some beautiful country, surrounded by happy friends. Mona's house now, if she can get to Wink in time. She hasn't really realized it until this moment, but now that she has a picture of the thing rather than some vague ancient papers, she understands what it is she's walked into. Though she's never laid eyes on this house or even known it existed before, it could belong to her. To Mona, who has had a bad couple of years and has been migrating and renting a lot, and once, in Corpus Christi, even living out of her goddamn truck and bathing in a gas station restroom, the idea is absolutely crazy. There's a knock at the door of the unit. The storage center attendant looks in warily. "Everything okay in here? Thought I heard a shout." Mona looks up at him, and he withdraws a little to see this short, dark-haired, dust-covered woman glaring at him with a shred of newspaper and a trickle of blood on her forehead. Mona doesn't know it, but the shred of newspaper blares, "Authorities appalled." "Doing good," she says, and her voice is raspy from the dust. She nods at the charger. "Where can I get some gas and a mechanic for that?" It takes most of the day to take care of Earl Bright's last possessions. A lot of it she'll leave for the attendant to trash. Most of the papers are about land purchases, as her father apparently tried to elbow into the speculation racket, with poor results. There are a shocking number of bowling trophies, none of them for first place. There are also some photos. Most of them are of him and his family. These Mona throws away. The pictures of him, Mona, and her mama she keeps, at least for today. She promises herself she'll toss them too in the morning. She manages to sell her old truck for $250, and in her frank opinion, the buyer overpaid, though she definitely doesn't say so. The Charger takes minimal work at the mechanics to get it running like a charm. God can damn her father for a whole host of things, but he was handy with the car. The only sticking point is the tires. Naturally, a mechanics in Big Spring doesn't have the stock to service a classic car like this. And Mona's not interested in waiting around. So, after grilling the mechanic rather mercilessly, she purchases a set that should be serviceable until she can find a place that can get her something real. She's pretty sure that will eliminate most of the small
Lakeisha
pile
leveling
of
up in the
cash
fan
that's
club. Whoop,
but
whoop.
she feels certain it will be worth it. When the mechanic's done, she loads her meager possessions into the car, and she moves the most important ones last. Her Glock 19, its holster, and a box of rounds. By the time the sun sets, Mona is richer than she's been in years. Not only does she have over $1,000, she now owns a flashy car, a box of her mother's papers and photos, and a goddamn house in New Mexico. She sits in the driver's seat and does some thinking. 11 days left, maybe fewer. She'll have to seriously book it. That night at the motel, she orders takeout from a barbecue joint and sits on the bed eating and reading her mother's things. Lots of them, most of them, she doesn't understand. They look like data reports from some old computer system. The kind she imagines whose screen is rendered in black with dark green letters. There are reams and reams and reams of data. And sometimes there are words.
We'll come back to that. I'm just laying down a base color, and we're going to add some acrylic.
Gets tossed around a lot, as well as aphasic. And there's a lot of talk about binary states, which Mona doesn't get. There are also some other papers, inter-office memos, all of which originate from the same laboratory, CNLO, Coburn National Laboratory and Observatory, whose name is always paired with the same corporate logo, an atomic model of an element, hydrogen, Mona guesses, encased in a drop of water, or possibly...
Sorry, I have to interrupt for a second. Can y'all imagine the people that come in for the first time last night and then they come back tonight and it's two whole different vibes? Like, if you're new in here, we've started doing a book on Tuesday. It's not always like this, but just to chill and color and listen to a book. It is 18 plus recommended because it does have language and violence. But welcome in. Welcome. Yesterday we were hooting and hollering. Tonight we're just listening. But I still don't mind answering any questions that you guys have about anything I'm doing or anything that I'm using. So please feel free to ask questions if you have any of those. And yeah, Amber is sponsoring a giveaway at 200K tonight. So if y'all just get your tappers on, when we get to 200K, we have a pack of Ohuhu. Was it Naku? No, how do you say that? Hold on. Ohuhu Nahuku acrylic pen. She's got a 24 pack, Amber? I think it's a 24 pack of Ohuhu acrylic pens, like different colors. So y'all put them tappers on and relax and eat snacks. And she said, don't get me lying to you. And y'all give her a follow to say thank you.
Ray of light. And it appears her mother was once employed there, probably as some sort of engineer. She sees Alvarez on several of the memos, even Dr. Alvarez. Mona's been getting surprised all day, but this surprises her most of all. She cannot imagine her mother having a PhD in anything, especially advanced stuff like this.
And Crystal's the tapper police. She will come for you.
She looks at a few old family photos from her father's belongings. The one she lingers on the most was taken in front of their old cinder block house. The house is as small and white and drab as she remembers, drenched in sun and dust. Mona, Earl, and her mother stand before the front door, smiling a little, a snapshot taken on the way to church. Mona cannot imagine who took the picture. She
was just saying the other night that
but even in this
they're talking about people who come in at the last minute for the givvies and haven't helped tap. So she was like, you better be tapping.
Something ready to break. Mona can still remember the last time she saw her mother. Alive, that is. It took place right there, on that step in the photo. She remembers the hot, red day when her mother ventured out onto that front step. Her first time outside in months. and called to Mona, playing in the yard, hardly 7 years old. Her mother was wearing a teal bathrobe and her hair was wet, and Mona remembers how embarrassed she was when the wind rose and the bottom of her mother's bathrobe lifted up, and Mona saw coarse pubic hair and realized her mother was nude under that robe, just naked as a jaybird.
Oh, my.
Her mother called to her to come, and when Mona obeyed, her mother knelt and whispered into Mona's ear that she loved her. She loved her more than anything, but she couldn't stay here, and she was so sorry. She couldn't stay because she was not from here. Not really. She was from somewhere else, and she had to go back now. Mona, terrified, asked where it was, and was it close, and could she visit? And her mother whispered that no, it was far, far away. But she said not to worry. Everything would be fine. One day she would come and get her little girl, and everything would be fine. Then her mother said to stay in the yard, to just stay there until the ambulance came and took care of everything.
Yes, under the boo-boo.
Last confession of love, she kissed Mona and walked back inside. Mona's last memory of her mother is of her walking down the long, dark hallway, teetering uneasily on pale, skinny legs, her hands mindlessly probing her ears. After that, though Mona was not there to see it, having minded her mother, Laura Bright wrapped her head in 2 towels, climbed into the bathtub, shut the curtain, put her husband's shotgun to her chin,
Oh, Lord.
and painted the aquamarine tiles of the shower with the wet, simple matter that composed her mind and soul.
Moo-moos after
Judging from her
dark.
mother's preparation, she had evidently tried to make a clean job of it. But the grout kept a pink stain that never went away, no matter how her father scrubbed. Mona hated the house after that, and she was thankful when her father moved to a new job. And to this
Don't
day,
do it,
Mona
lady.
has never forgotten the way her mother looked when she apologized to her on that front step. She looked more sensible and saner than she had in many years.
I can only
It
put
wasn't
so much
until
words
later,
up there.
when Mona became a cop, that she learned how unusual it was for a woman to kill herself with a firearm, especially one as devastating as a
TikTok's
shotgun.
going to kick me off of here.
To this day, it still bothers her. She keeps forgetting that in 11 days it will have been 30 years ago. Even though all of her adult life has occurred after that moment, it still feels as if it happened only yesterday. Like Mona is still waiting on the front lawn, waiting for her mother to tell her to come back inside. She remembers almost nothing of her mother apart from that moment, and brief snatches of other memories that amount to nothing. Yet, in this dingy motel room, with the sounds of jeopardy bleeding through the bedroom wall, Mona is confronted with the fact that her mother was much more than that sad, confused woman. How she got to West Texas and into Earl Bright's life is something Mona cannot imagine. Yet it's something Mona decides she will find out. She will go to this town in New Mexico and find out what her mother was doing there, and what turned her into the weeping wreck of a human being Mona knew. And after all, Mona has no reason to stay in Texas. She's had a rocky couple of years since her divorce, and though after her resignation, the Houston PD made it obvious they'd welcome her back, she doesn't feel like being a cop anymore. She's become comfortable with drifting, with the endless chain of cheap motel rooms and the scents of diesel gas and watery beer. God only knows how many W-2s she's filled out for a month's or 2 months' wages. She's been all over Texas and Louisiana and, in one rock-bottom fit, Oklahoma. And though she's been many miles, she's now unsure if she's actually found anything during her sojourn. Certainly never a house, or a car, or the ghost of her mother's history. Mona shoves the papers aside and starts trimming and filing her toenails. She's always taken very good care of her feet, and she watches the curtains change color with the neon lights outside. She wonders how she'll get there. She wonders what Wink is like, and why she's never heard of it before. And she wonders if she will find any more to the stranger she has just unearthed in this little cardboard box. Chapter 3. On the outskirts of Wink, Nestled in the western side of the mesa, so it is shielded from the worst of the midday sun, there's a narrow, wandering canyon that is curiously treeless and silent. It is almost hidden within a thick thatch of pinon pines. Yet none of them has managed to penetrate this canyon, despite having successfully invaded far harsher regions. It's mostly invisible to the town itself, but if the inhabitants wished, it would be an easy thing to climb down to the forest and hike their way over. Yet despite the canyon's scenic appeal and accessibility, none of the residents of Wink ever enters, at least not without an invitation. Because this is where Mr. First resides, and Mr. First values his privacy. It's early morning, and pink hues are just beginning to seep into the dark sky above, blanching out the stars. A flock of sparrows suddenly takes flight from the forest in a rush, and they wheel about before settling on the opposite side of Wink. A family of white-tailed deer also flees the mesa's shadow, springing through the pines as if startled by a hunter. Yet there is none. Even a pack of coyotes hurries away, an anomaly if there ever was one, as they'd normally be asleep now. Soon a heavy silence pervades the forest. There's no sound but the wind in the pines. For Mr. First is waking, and most creatures around the mesa know it's wise to make themselves scarce at such times. This occurrence is unusual, and Mr. First realizes this, for it's not his time to wake. He observes that it is morning, not evening, and more so, he has set a very rigorous schedule for himself. And if he's gauged the current date correctly, he's well short of his appointed time. He should still be slumbering here, hidden from the raw, new world in the many rocky folds of the canyon. He's very curious. Something must have awoken him, he decides. This is concerning, for few are the things that can awake Mr. First. So in a series of slow, complicated movements, he unfurls himself and begins to examine his surroundings. He tastes the air, the moisture, the sandy canyon floor, and many other things besides. It is this ability for perception, along with his seniority, that differentiates Mr. First from his many siblings. For example, while his family is unique in a variety of ways, only he is able to perceive the shape and shift of time itself. He can glimpse ahead and make out the rough, tumbling shape of things to come. Like looking down into the sea and discerning a swell of silver and identifying it as a school of fish. And if he concentrates very, very hard, he might even be able to make out the form of things that could have happened, or even should have happened, but did not. Now, trembling and quaking in the cool morning air, Mr. First realizes this is what awoke him. The shape of the future has just violently shifted. A multitude of possibilities were eliminated, and everything has just been forced onto a single track. He exercises his talent for perception and peers ahead at the blurry shape of future events, and sees...
Hey, Bex. Thank you so much for the go pop.
If Mr. First had eyes to widen, they would be quite wide right now.
Hey, Maricela.
He thinks about what he's just seen, and two thoughts enter his mind.
We're listening to American Elsewhere on Audible.
This is unprecedented, and rightly so. Such a thing should be impossible here. Yet merely by glancing at the next few hours, he can see it's true. The second is far more confusing, far more ominous, and totally perplexing to Mr. First. Yet he knows what he saw, and though it was as vague and shadowed as all glimpses of things yet to come, it's clear as day to him.
Thank you, Lana.
Mr. First hunches down in his canyon, withdrawing utterly.
I know some of y'all are new here from yesterday. On Tuesdays, we started a book series on Audible called American Elsewhere, and we're just coloring and listening, but I don't mind chatting if you guys have, something you want to share, talk about, or anything like that. But I know it's a little different than yesterday. Thank you, Bex. It is cute. And we're also going to have a giveaway for a pack of acrylic Ohuhu Nahuku markers. Thank you, Jenna. Oh, I have my sticker book tonight. So if you guys have your tappers and you want to put them on, as soon as we get to 200K, we'll have a giveaway. So let me get a sticker. I know it's not a swamp anymore. Woo! Thank you. It turned out good. You gotta trust that process. Let me get Jenna a sticker, and then we'll resume our story. Thank you, R, for the follow. Yes, yesterday it started looking like it was a little weird at first, but trust in the process. We trust in the process. Yes, I didn't get to put it on yet, but we can go ahead and do that now because I didn't have my stickers yesterday. So we'll do this one for yesterday. Look at those cute little tropical flowers. And good day. It's a good day. It's a good day to have a good day. So if you're new in here from yesterday, or you haven't, we've only done this one other time. It's supposed to be every Tuesday, but I was at college the last 2 Tuesdays and I couldn't do it. Normally we're chit-chatting and hooting and hollering, but tonight is our just chillax. We chillaxing. Jenna J, thank you so much. And I do have it on the screen, but just trigger warning, the story does have violence and adult language and all the things. So if you are triggered by any of that, you may not want to be in here. But if Gothic American novels are your thing, then stick around on Tuesday nights.
Until there is nothing to distract him. He begins thinking, very hard and very fast, which is difficult for him, where his thoughts usually proceed with the pace and implacability of tectonic shifts. Things are changing. They are changing here, in a place that should not ever, ever change. Even he, eldest of his siblings, give or take, could never have anticipated this. Should I tell them? He asks himself. He extends his attention to the tiny town threaded through the valley before the mesa. They're all still asleep
also,
for the most part. No.
The giving is sponsored by Amber, so y'all give her a follow, tell her thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, he decides. They will know soon enough. And besides, it would make no difference. But his own preparations will have to change.
Hey, Carla.
They'll have to be sped up, for one. That is all he can do. And soon he will have visitors, and he will have to get ready for them. He sighs a little. He was quite enjoying it here. They all were. But such things happen.
Yes, hello.
Chapter 4. Anyone who wants to rhapsodize about the beauty of nature should drive from Texas to New Mexico, Mona thinks.
She really is.
There's about 100-mile stretch of nothing. Genuinely nothing. No crops or buildings of any kind. Though, of course, it's hard for her to tell how big it is because it all looks the same. It's just flat, gray, sun-baked scrub. Flatter than any land Mona's seen before. She's pretty sure that if she were to pull over and stand on the hood of her car, she'd be able to see for miles in every direction. There are barbed wire fences everywhere, but Mona can't figure out for the life of her what they're fencing out. I-40 just keeps going. It has almost no intersections, and it passes through no towns. This is an empty country, untamed.
How are you, Carla?
Because there's nothing here to tame. Except, Mona learns, the wind. It's when she first enters the hills that she sees the wind turbines, and she's so surprised, she nearly drives the Charger off the road. They're so unexpected, these shining white machines standing on the ragged mountaintops. She knew they'd built wind farms out here, but she hasn't returned to West Texas in over 15 years, so she's never seen one.
Okay,
the turbines seem
cool.
limitless, dotting the farthest hilltops.
I'm so glad you could
It's an
make
alien
it.
sight. Mona sees there's a gap in the fence beside one of the turbines, and she decides now's a pretty good time to take a break. She pulls over and grabs her maps and her lunch, a bean burrito that's been warming in the sunlight on the passenger seat, and she hops out and starts up the hill to where the turbine stands. It is probably trespassing.
And look, sorry again. So this is my plan for some of this stuff. If I get to it, I'm going to make those leaves. I don't know how you pronounce it, but caladium leaves that have like the pink in the middle. And then I'm going to try and turn this into a birds of paradise plant. Don't know how that's going to turn out, but we're going to attempt it. And then we're going to do palm trees, add some coconuts, and I don't know how far we'll get tonight, but that's the plan for this so far. You right, she's from the bean burrito. Not Mona eating the burrito. And thank you for the hearty welcome in. Tonight's a little different from last night. We're listening to a book on Audible. It's called American Elsewhere. There is a lot of language and violence, etc. So just trigger warning there. Yes, we don't have diarrhea water anymore. Oh, I love it. All right. Resuming chapter 4.
But she doubts.
But if y'all have any question or anything or want to chat, just go right ahead.
Last time she saw another car.
I can
The
always
turbine
pause.
was farther away than she thought, for she underestimated its size. It seems like the biggest thing she's ever seen, though it can't be, she thinks. It's about 5 stories tall, and she's seen buildings much taller than that. Yet this seems bigger somehow. When she gets close, she finds it makes a hum so deep and loud it makes her sinuses vibrate. It is a terrifying and strange contraption, rotating so slowly under the blindingly blue sky.
Yes, please.
But it's also the only source of shade around here. So Mona sits down in its shadow and unpacks her burrito and opens up her maps.
Oh,
She looks
Mona.
them over and thinks.
Ray, thank you
It's
for the heart
3 days to figure out where, approximately, Wink is. 3 wasted, frustrated, furious days. For as it turned out, Mona wasn't the only person who'd never heard of it. No map maker, including Rand McNally and the goddamn Department of Transportation, had heard of it either. The DOT kept referring her to the state level, which in turn referred her to national.
Thank you so much, Ray, and for the Go
She spent nearly a
Pops.
whole day finding every highway map she could and scouring it for the town. But her search was fruitless. She even called the tax appraisal district for the county, hoping to check the property tax roll.
Oh, thank you for the singing frog. Let me get you a sticker.
Mona then tried another route. She had several official documents saying she now owned the house. So presumably, the offices and institutions that had issued them should be able to tell her.
Look, is this not exactly perfect for... Oops, I forgot. That's me all the time. Forgot. There we go. Let's see if I can get your name on it without knocking something over. Thank you so much.
Or it was, right? But she was wrong. All anyone had was the address. The rest of the information about the house, like where it was conspicuously absent. Mona argued that clearly the house was real, so the town had to be real as well, and real things generally show up on maps. But the clerk on the phone responded that no, actually, they did not know if the house was real. They could only confirm that her inheriting the house was real. The rest, the clerk primly said, might be either an error or a fraud. And the way she told Mona this made it plain she now considered her suspect. Mona then said a lot of things she'd never say in church, and the clerk hung up on her. She was so angry that it took her a long while to calm down and figure out a solution. While Wink now seemed unfindable, there was something else she realized she could search for. Coburn National Laboratory and Observatory, whose logo was emblazoned on the corner of almost every paper of her mother's. This idea came to her on the way to Amarillo, since she decided to start moving in the general direction of New Mexico to avoid wasting any more time. When she arrived, she swung by the public library to see what she could find on it. Again, what she found was negligible, but it was at least more than what she found on Wink. Coburn
Sounds
National Laboratory and
good.
Observatory.
Can you
was
believe it's
referenced
going to
in
be our
7
last
places, all of them old
our
scientific
last one on that
magazines
page?
from the 60s and 70s. The one with the most detail was the oldest, from 1968, a sort of profile on the lead scientist done by Light First magazine, which itself went out of business in 1973. The article featured a large picture of an elderly but robust man smiling and standing in front of a magnificent mountain panorama. Though it was rendered in black and white, and the photo had turned a dull yellow from age, Mona could tell the region was astonishingly beautiful. The man was dressed a little like an explorer, with big boots
It
and a vest
did.
with many pockets.
I'm going to
One of those
announce the winning
adventurer
page tomorrow,
intellectuals
or on
seen
Thursday during
signs
the
of
live.
previous century. There was a lot of construction going on behind him at the foot of one of the biggest mountains. The caption read, Dr. Richard Coburn, standing before the future site of Coburn National Laboratory and Observatory, at the base of the Abertura Mesa. Abertura Mesa, thought Mona. She wrote that down, then scanned the rest of the article for something usable. It was mostly an interview with Dr.
Oh,
Coburn,
good.
rendered bizarrely in transcript. She guessed this just appealed to those of the scientific persuasion, centering on physics stuff, which frankly bored her to tears, so she couldn't make heads or tails of it. The interviewer mostly fawned over Dr. Coburn, who must have been some big-shot physicist back in the day, and though he was enthusiastic, he didn't seem eager to talk details. She zeroed in on one section in particular. LFM. So what expectations do you have for the project? If your recent publications are anything to go by, they must be very high. Richard Coburn. Well, really, I think it's only healthy to enter into any new endeavor with the highest of expectations.
I
mean,
love color
you
and
want to make
water.
yourself work, naturally.
I
and you
don't
won't
really
work
like
if
how I do
you don't
bushes.
think you can
I
accomplish anything. I
have been
sort of
playing
become
around
an
with some
enemy
different
of myself in a
techniques,
way.
and
I'm a bit embarrassed
I
to
don't
admit it,
know.
but I tend to assume I'm failing all the time. There is so much more I can be doing at any moment. Perhaps it's unhealthy. I'm not sure.
No, you didn't,
LFM.
Carla.
What
Shame,
more do you think you
shame.
can be doing?
Just
then?
don't tell anybody. Super
Richard
fans
Coburn.
can know, but
I'm
don't tell
sorry,
anybody
I don't believe
else.
I understand the question.
Thank you, Wilbers, for the
LFM.
repost.
What I mean is, you say you're going into this expecting great accomplishments. What would those accomplishments be? Richard Coburn. Well, unfortunately, since our funding is largely through government avenues, there's not much I can say about our plans. You know, it's the kind of thing that has all sorts of clearance levels and such. It's all a bit irritating, honestly. There is so much I'd like to talk about, yet I can't. But I will say that this just might be, and I do not think I am overestimating myself here, the first really genuine American foray into the quantum realm. And with each new thing we learn, the possibilities become more and more amazing. We've assembled a great team here, and though we're all pretty much camping in the desert for now, I expect that'll change soon. LFM. They have you camping out there? In tents? Richard Coburn. Oh no, they have temporary housing set up. It's fairly comfortable. I believe there are some plans to make something more permanent, but I'm only peripherally involved in those. It should be very pleasant, I think. They're allowing us some say in the aesthetics, but I honestly cannot wait to get started. We will be examining the way the world works at the smallest level possible, and I can't overstate how important this research will be. Things we've assumed, things we've taken for granted for hundreds, if not thousands of years, are being brought into question. It really is quite startling. I'd be unnerved by the whole thing, really, if I didn't love the research so much. Mona had expected government funding. It was a national lab, after all. But this sounded distinctly more secret. As if whatever they'd been doing out there required housing and domesticities that were very much off the books, like a federal enclave. Which might explain why there was absolutely nothing to be found about Wink. Having once been a reservist, Mona was dimly aware of how the government operates in situations like this. First they build the facilities, then they construct the residential area for its staff. Maybe Wink was a federal town built to house the staff of CNLO, which would explain why it never showed up on any maps, and why so many state and federal institutions had no record of it. And this was what her mother had been wrapped up in? She'd been a government research scientist? The more Mona learned about her mother's past, the more bizarre it all seemed. As she copied the article, she realized it all put her in a hell of a spot. She'd been entrusted a house, but it just might be in a fucking federal
Yes, they
enclave.
are.
How could that have happened? What would she have to do? Climb a barbed wire fence to get to it? Was any of this legal? Mona had no experience with federal law on this scale. And she still
Sylvie
hadn't
watching
found
for
anything definite
100
about the exact
minutes.
location of
Thank
the
you,
town.
you stalker.
All she
I'm
had
just
was the
kidding.
name of the
Hey,
mesa,
Heather,
which
thank
might
you.
or might not be nearby.
We're listening to an Audible book tonight.
But after checking another map, she found that at least the mesa was real. The Abertura Mesa, just on the
Oh, I
north
need to
tip
color
of the
that
Jemez
first.
Mountains, to the northwest of Santa Fe and Los Alamos.
That's okay. Welcome back.
It looked fairly accessible as well. That just left one question. Was she willing to drive all the way out there to see if either Coburn National Laboratory and Observatory or Wink was around? She looked up and saw her reflection in the library window. Ever since finding the old photos of her mother, Mona had been reminded of how similar they looked.
That's
Mona was a
okay.
little shorter, and her skin a little browner. But besides that, they were almost the same. It had been so powerfully strange to see her mother happy. Not just happy.
Okay, no worries.
Happy. Incandescently happy. As Mona stared at her reflection in the library window, she tried to remember if she'd ever seen her mother in such a state. What had she possessed in Wink that made her so happy? Then Mona tried to remember the last time she herself had felt that way. She could, but it was a long time ago, and she'd never wanted to remember it. To forget, to shut down entirely, had always been the better option. Though Mona did want the house, she realized she would go to Wink even if she missed the deadline. It would be worth it if she could catch just a glimpse of that smiling woman in the photos. And maybe Mona could find what her mother had found in Wink as well. She stacked up all the papers and stood up. Maybe it's still there, she thought as she walked out. It's got to still be there. So now here Mona is, squatting on a hilltop beside a huge, humming wind turbine on the Texas border, with not a soul around for miles. She looks over her maps for the 100th time. Most of them she's notated by hand. Mona was far too poor for a GPS for a long while, and even though she now has the funds, her practicality scoffs at the very idea. Since many don't acknowledge the Abertura Mesa at all, and none of them make any reference to Wink, of course. It's a queer thing to be traveling in such a manner. It's like sailing without a rudder. Sometimes she thinks she's making her own maps so she can figure out how to get back from wherever she's going. She sets the maps down, finishes her lunch, and stares off into the west. The sky is huge and bright, yet it's rent in 1,000 places by the slowly swirling blades of the turbines. With the sun at the right angle, they make a million dancing shadows on the barren hills. She takes a breath, lets it out, and wonders if she really wants to get back in the Charger. She doesn't want to think of this as a second chance, because Mona Bright has never really believed she ever got a first one. Not really. A powerful ache begins seeping into her stomach. Don't think about that. Pick it up and put it away. She opens the door to the Charger.
And watching for 100
her
minutes.
way
Thank
west.
you.
8 days. She can make it in 8 days. Chapter 5.
Oh man, we're flying through this. Thank y'all for
Slowly,
hanging out too
The country changes.
with the book.
It happens in the distance initially. The horizon begins to crumple. Then shadows form on it, like thunderstorms in a cloud line. Soon the shadows gain a red tint, and Mona sees that they are mountains. Beside her, the earth changes from colorless gray barrens to orange steppes, rendered fuzzy and indistinct by the clusters of chamiza. The little feathery plant clings to everything out here, making Mona feel like she has glaucoma. It's as if someone has painted pale green and yellow brushstrokes over a bright orange canvas. It's much cooler in the high countries than anywhere else Mona has been recently. She rolls the windows down and lets the cool afternoon air come rushing in around her. And she smiles as she points the charger up another slope. It's not hard to believe that this is the land that birthed the nuclear age. Anything feels possible out here. There's even something electric in the air, though that may just be the sky.
Listen to the AI
If
summary.
God
It says that I'm coloring a map of mysterious town near the Albertura Mesa.
painted the sky
Oh,
piece
man.
by piece, then he surely finished this country last. For here the sky is so fresh and new, it almost hurts to look at it. Mona is enjoying herself so much that she almost forgets to start checking the road signs. When she finally
Albertura
does,
Mesa.
she sees that she is much closer to her general target than she expected. She begins to pull over at little stops to ask people if they've ever heard of Wink. At first, not many have. They stare at her uncertainly. And after they say no, they ask if she wants something else, as if she should buy a gallon of gas or a soda just out of politeness. But Mona has neither money nor politeness to spare, and she hops back in her car and speeds along to the next stop. Yet then, the name produces a reaction. They stare at her, puzzled, but direct her down the road. This instruction is needless, there is only one road. And tell her to keep an eye out for a well-paved road leading north. One woman tells her, "Odd that you're going out there. Can't remember the last time someone went there. Come to think of it, can't remember the last time someone came from there either." If Mona's lucky, she'll make it before nightfall. Then she'll have a whole week to try to get the house. She hopes that'll be enough. Mona finds the paved road very easily. It's impossible to miss, so smooth and unbroken and black. It's easily the nicest road she's seen in a while. It winds down the mountain slope into fuller and taller pines, away from the rocky heights of the plateaus. It becomes rather shocking how far the road keeps going down. She wonders if this town, if it's still around, exists at the bottom of a hole in the ground. But then there is a break in the trees, and she sees it is not quite a hole, but rather a steep, narrow valley. When the road reaches the bottom of the valley, it curls around itself toward the mesa. A large painted sign stands on the right-hand side of the turn. Mona slows to a stop to look at it. The sign must mark the southern entrance to Wink, she thinks. It's large and colorful and depicts two men and a woman standing at the mouth of a valley, staring at a sun-dappled mesa before them. All of them, Mona notes, are exceedingly white. The men have their hands on their hips, very authoritative, while the woman has her hands
I started a new
together
color by
below
too.
her
It's
breast.
Bambi.
The men have smooth,
been
parted
obsessed.
hair, virtually the same, except that one's is blonde and the other's is brown, as if they're different versions of the same doll. They wear khakis and plaid shirts, with the sleeves rolled up, as if there's work to do, and darn it, they plan to do it. The woman has long, curly blonde locks and a bright white and red sundress. They look like the kind of adults all children expect to be when they grow up. But it's what they are gazing at that Mona finds odd. There's something on top of the mesa at the end of the valley. It looks like a tiny bronze antenna, like the kind that used to sit on the
Yes,
top of the
do
world
it.
in the old RKO Pictures logo. It's such an antiquated addition to the picture, yet there is something else strange about it. Are there streaks in the sky all pointing to the antenna? They look almost like very faint
I'm about
bolts
to be
of
down in the
light.
bushes, I promise.
At the bottom, the sign reads, "Welcome to Wink, where the sky touches the earth." Below that, in much smaller writing, population 1,243. Mona realizes that the valley looks familiar.
Shoot.
She gets out of the car, steps back, and looks around. After a while, she realizes it's this valley, and the mesa in the sign is the one just ahead of her. Yet the trees have grown so tall that they obscure nearly everything below it. She can see no antenna on it. Perhaps there are buildings, but it's hard to see from so far away. She finds the sign, puts a bad taste in her mouth. She climbs back into the Charger and starts off down the road again, happy to leave it behind. A twist of dark road, a leaning fence, the grasping brush of a soft pine branch. On and on and on the road goes. Mona feels sure she's driven the length of the whole valley, but there's always more as if the landscape is unfolding as she travels.
Hi, thank you for the follow.
Something bulbous and smooth gliding through the air. She can see it only through the gaps in the trees. There's writing on one side, though she can see just 2 letters, W-I. She sees it's not flying, but standing on a tall, round post. A water tower, she thinks. But she didn't see any tower before, and she definitely should have. As she ponders this, a splash of red comes swooping out from between the pines. A stop sign. Startled, she comes to an abrupt stop and discovers she has arrived. She's at an intersection, but it's completely different from those of the rough country road she's been traveling. On her left is a small white wooden house with green trim, and on her right is another house, this one of adobe, the walls and corners smooth and brown like a sculpted chocolate cake. Each one expands back into the uneven terrain, disappearing behind thick beds of flowers. The change is so sudden that for a moment,
I just don't want to smear my...
confused. She realizes she has entered the street grid of Wink. She sees small shops ahead, and telephone wires and tall pines in the parks. And yet there is no one on the streets that she can see, nor is there any sound at all besides the wind. This is the town on the federal enclave, she wonders. She saw no signs warding trespassers away or border guards. The only thing that hindered her arrival was the downward incline of the road. She starts
Thank you,
off
Nicole, for the follow.
It's
Welcome
in. The first thing she plans to do is ask
We're listening to an
motel is.
Audible.
She'll
It's
tackle the issue
called
of her
American
mother's house
Elsewhere on
So long as she presents
Tuesdays.
her identification to the right people tomorrow, the house should be hers. But she finds no one to ask. As she roves through the street grid, each block is nearly perfect. If she took out a protractor and measured the corners, she's sure they would be at an even 90 degrees. She doesn't spot a single soul. Every street and every shop and every home is deserted. There aren't even any cars parked in the lots. This is why Wink wasn't on any maps, she thinks. No one fucking lives here anymore. It's just her luck to inherit a house in a ghost town. But it can't be abandoned. Not really, she decides. It's too well maintained for that. The neon lights of the diner, though unlit, look functional. The cafes all have somewhat fresh coats of paint.
Thank you,
And as the sun sets,
Vanellope, for the follow.
On, bathing the streets in a white, phosphorescent glow. And none of the bulbs are out. But though it is deserted, the town is quaintly beautiful. Many of the shops and buildings have a faint Googie influence to them, which contrasts hugely with New Mexican stylings. Standing beside a smooth, earthy adobe home might be a metal porthole window and an angular, upswept roof, or an amalgam of glass and steel. And
How are you? We're listening to a little story
Both the
on
diner
Tuesdays.
And the cafe have parabola-shaped signs done in soft Easter egg blue. It feels inappropriate to be cruising these streets in the Charger.
And we're going to be having a giveaway of a 24-pack of Ohuhu acrylic markers when we get 200K taps.
Adobe house with pine corbels, maybe a horse-drawn wagon. It's a strangely schizophrenic place, but not unwelcoming. She tries to imagine her mother living here. Maybe she went to that diner, bought flowers from this shop on the corner, walked her dog down that sidewalk. Jesus, Mona thinks. Could she have had a dog? For some reason, this fairly irrelevant possibility confounds her. Then, Mona turns one corner, and she sees the street ahead is lined with parked cars. They are not, as she expected, vintage cars, but Chevy trucks and the like. She speeds up a little, wondering if this could be something. And as she does, a wrought iron railing emerges from the bushes along the sidewalk. And at the next corner is a white wooden church with a tall steeple. When she pulls up alongside the fence,
It's Bobbie
she finally
Goods.
sees what's on the other side.
Summer break.
Slams on the brakes in surprise.
It's her new one. It was sold out. I don't know if she got back in stock. She's supposed to be
Just
getting
on
it
the
back
other
in
side of
stock,
the wrought
though.
iron fence is a huge crowd of people, hundreds of them. When her tires squeal, they all jump, turn, and look at her. Mona looks back and sees they are all wearing black, or at least dark gray, and some of the women's faces are veiled. The yard with the wrought iron fence, she realizes, is a graveyard. And at the center of the crowd is a lacquered casket hanging over an open grave. Wink isn't deserted. Everyone is attending a funeral, which Mona has just interrupted in her rumbling muscle car with squealing tires. Ah, shit, says Mona. For a moment, she has no idea what to do. Then, haltingly, she waves. Most of the people do nothing. Then a small boy, about 7, smiles and waves back. An older man in a black suit
Right.
says something to the woman beside him and walks to the iron fence. Mona rolls down the passenger window and he asks, "Can I help you?" Mona clears her throat. Is there a motel around here?" The man stares blankly at her. But not, she feels, in shock or reproach. It's as if his face can make no other expression. Then, without taking
Thank you,
his
Bobbie,
eyes
for
off
the
her,
share.
he raises one arm and points down the road ahead. "On the left," he says, slowly but clearly. "Thanks," says Mona. "I'm really sorry for interrupting everything." The man doesn't respond. He stays stock still for a couple of seconds. Then he lowers his arm. The rest of the crowd keeps watching her. "Sorry," she says again. "Real sorry." She rolls up the window and drives away. But when she looks in the rear-view mirror, they are all still watching her.
Awkward.
They're probably worse first impressions, but right now Mona can't think of any. She's come from one awkward, unhappy funeral to another. She wonders what they will think when they hear she's inherited a house in town. Her face is still bright red when she finds the motel, a low, long, dark building at the edge of town. The motel sign reads Ponderosa Acres in orange neon, and below that, in smaller red letters, is the word vacancy. It looks a little like a cabin, with walls made of, or made to look like they're made of, huge pine logs. There are no lights on in any of the rooms except the office. She gets out and scans the parking lot. There are no other cars here, not even any on the street. She walks into the office with her bag over her shoulder. The office is surprisingly spacious, with green marble floors and wood-paneled walls. It smells of beeswax and dust and popcorn. There's only one light in the room,
Yummy.
a yellow ceiling lamp that casts a spotlight on a small desk in the corner littered with papers. In the corner, she can just make out an old yellow sofa. Keys glint on the wall behind the desk, and somewhere a handheld radio tinnily plays You're Cheatin' Heart. Besides that corner, the office is oppressively dark. She can barely make out a dead palm in a pot before the desk. Its curling brown leaves are still scattered on the floor. On the wall is an old calendar that turns the wrong month. It's brown with age and unmarked. The tool of someone who has had nothing to do for a long, long time. The office appears to be empty.
Okay, Crystal, thank
She
you.
says, and wonders where she'll go now. "Can I help you?" asks a deep, soft voice. Mona turns around, looking for the speaker. The room is so dark that it takes her eyes a moment to adjust. Then she sees there is a card table in the corner of the room beside the door. Seated at it is an old man with a board of Chinese checkers in front of him. He's bald and gray-bearded.
We are
and his pockmarked skin is so
listening
dark that
to...
initially
Hold
his
on a
gray
second.
beard appears to simply float in the...
We're listening to a story called American Elsewhere on Audible by Robert Jackson Bennett. It's like an American Gothic novel, kind of like slash horror, kind of Stranger Things vibes, I guess you want to say. So, anybody that's new in here, we've been doing this on Tuesday nights, listening to an Audible and just coloring. But other nights of the week, on Monday I do beginner friendly tutorials where I work in a guided tutorial book. And then I usually don't go live on Wednesday nights. Thursday, we're doing a color along right now in Doodly Bug's Once Upon a Dream. And so if you want to join that or have any questions about that, please reach out to a mod. And then the rest of the times, I'm just coloring and hanging out and chatting. We're usually hooting and hollering. We're not usually this quiet around here, but we are enjoying the story. We're also having a 24, yeah, no problem. We're having a 24 pack of Ohuhu acrylic marker set giveaway when we get to 200K taps. So if y'all want to tap, sponsored by Amber. So y'all give her a follow and say thank you. And we're going to resume our story.
In one of his hands is a styrofoam cup of steaming coffee. He wears a gray zip-up sweater, red and black striped pants, and alligator shoes. And he watches her over a pair of half-moon spectacles with calm, reserved eyes. Oh, she says. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't see you there. The old man sips his coffee, but says nothing.
Thank you for the
as if to
follow.
mean, obviously. I'd like to rent a room, please. Sir, just for tonight?
Back to our
The
regular
old man
scheduled
looks away,
programming.
thinking. After nearly a full 30 seconds of meditation, with nothing but Hank Williams to break the silence, he says, Here? What? You want to get a room here? What? Yes. Yeah, I want to get a room here. The old man grunts, stands up, and goes to the keys on the wall. There are about 20 hanging there on the corkboard. He surveys them very carefully, as if searching a bookshelf for the appropriate tome. And with a quiet, aha, he selects one from the bottom corner of the board. What marks this key as different from any of the others, Mona cannot tell. Then he lifts it to his lips and blows. A significant cloud of dust flies up from the key to dance around the ceiling lamp. Been a while since you guys had customers? Asks Mona. It has been a very long while, says the old man. He smiles and holds the key out to her. Mona reaches for it. How much? How much? He pulls the key back, confused. For what? For the room. Oh, says the old man, a little irritated, as if this were a needless formality he'd forgotten. He lowers the key, grunts again, puts his cup of coffee down, and begins to sort through the papers on his desk. As he does, he notices the dead plant on the floor. He stops and leans forward, examining it. Then he looks up at Mona and sternly says, My plant has died. I'm real sorry to hear that. It was a very old plant. He seems to be waiting for her to say something. She ventures, Oh? Yes, I had it for nearly a year. It was my favorite plant because of this. Well, that's understandable. The old man just looks at her. She adds, You get attached to things if they're around long enough.
Speaking of plants, Megan, I saw there was a floral color by number.
Mona is beginning
It made me
to
think
feel
of
quite
you.
disturbed. She wonders if he is senile, but there's more to it than that. It feels very unsafe in this big, dark office where only one corner is lit and tangible, and the rest is hidden from her. For some reason, she gets the sense that they're not alone. When the old man returns to his papers, Mona checks the corners. Still nothing.
It was really pretty.
Maybe it's just a weird feeling she got from seeing the funeral. I'm not sure what to do with it now, he says grudgingly. I like the plant very much, but I suppose these things happen. He sniffs and produces a tiny note card from the mountain of old papers on his desk. This he consults carefully, as if it's the ace in his poker hand, and pronounces $20. For a night? It seems so, says the old man solemnly, and he places the card back on the desk. So, you don't know how much your own rooms are? There are several rooms with several prices. I forget them. And we have not had any visitors in some time. Mona, glancing at the piles of paper and dust, can completely believe that. Mind if I ask how you stay open then? He thinks about it. I suppose you could say, he concludes, that there is no shortage of goodwill around here. For some reason, Mona feels he is telling the truth. But this doesn't exactly comfort her. Just curious, is this the only motel in town? Again, he ponders her question. If there is another
I
motel,
know. Run,
I'm
girl,
unaware
run.
of it. I guess that's an honest answer.
I want to know
He reaches into her
why.
bag, takes out a 20 and hands
Just
it
go
to
to
her.
the house.
He takes the bill and clutches it tight in his hand, as a
Well,
child would.
I guess
And looks hard at
she
her
imagines
again.
it's probably been abandoned. There's
Have you ever
probably
been here before? he asked.
You right?
Here? In Wink?
Somebody come get her.
Yes, in Wink. No, this is my first time.
I have a big open area right
Allow
there. I
me
don't
to
like
show
that.
you to your room then. He picks up the key, the $20 bill still clutched in his hand, and walks out the office door. As she follows, Mona glances behind the desk. She sees no gun, no weapon, nothing suspicious. But she does not feel entirely satisfied. It's as if there's a tiny wound in her mouth she can't quit playing with. Something is wrong with this. On the way out, she looks at the Chinese checkers board. There's something different about it now. She can't say why. After all, it is dark, and she didn't get a good look at it.
Apparently, AI
But she
says
is
y'all are
sure
watching a
the
live
checkers have
action
been
short
rearranged,
story. Join the coloring
as if
session.
someone has just made
Hey,
a
Yaya,
complicated
thank you for
play.
the taps.
But perhaps the old man
Yaya
just
said
jostled
Megan
the
won
table
something.
and
She's
fell
about to
out.
win her something.
He leads her down a row of motel room doors. Night has fallen very quickly. The sky was bright blue, then streaked with pink. But now it's a soft and dusky purple, cut short by the dark mesa surging into the heavens. The air has chilled considerably with the onset of evening, and Mona wishes she'd brought some winter wear. What is your name? The old man asks. Mona. I am Parson, Mona. It is very nice to meet you.
Winter wear.
Likewise. It is good that you are staying the night here. He gestures into the dark trees that crawl up the slopes. The area around Wink can be a little treacherous, especially at night. I wouldn't advise going out at night, especially outside of downtown. People get lost very easily. I can imagine, says
I
Mona,
forgot a leaf.
remembering the steep hills and sudden precipices. Can I ask you something? He stops to consider it, as if this is a very serious proposition. I suppose so, he says finally. I tried to find this place on a lot of maps before I came, but really, he says. Why? Well, I don't really want to get into it too much now, since nothing's settled yet. But I inherited a house here, supposedly. Parsons stares off into the distance. Did you?
Exactly.
He says softly.
Pudding tang.
Which house would that be, if I might ask?
Oh,
It's on Larchmont, or so they tell me. I see. You know, I believe I know the residence in question. It is abandoned, but it's in fairly good shape. And you say you inherited it? That's what all these papers say. How curious, says Parson. I cannot remember the last time someone new moved here. You will be quite the oddity, if so. That's kind of what I wanted to ask about. You might not have anyone moving here because no one knows this town's here. It's not on any map. Is there some reason for that? Something to do with the lab on the mountain? Lab? Asks Parson, puzzled. Yeah, Coburn National Lab and observatory. Oh, he says and smiles.
okay,
Goodness.
Franny.
If you're looking for a job there, I'm afraid you're about 30 years late. What do you mean? Coburn was shut down years ago. End of the 70s, if I recall. I'm not sure why exactly. I think they just never produced what they said they would. Lost funding. Wink was originally built around it, you know. Yeah, I figured. Did you? He says.
Oh, thank you
Well,
so much.
When it was shut down, it just left us all here. Where were we going to go? I suppose they took us off most maps to keep the place undisturbed. No spies sniffing around the lab or some such. But now that we are forgotten, they never remembered to put us back on. To be honest, I like the peace and quiet, even if it is bad for business. Can I ask you something else? You have done so already. I see nothing barring you from doing so again. Did you ever know a Laura Alvarez here? Here in Wink? Yeah, she would have left about 30 years ago or so. She worked at the lab up on the mountain. I'm trying to find out more about her. She was my mom. He says. I am afraid I cannot help you. I am not the most social of people. I remember very few names. Even in a town this small, you don't know? Small, he says. Is it so small? He looks up, examines the room numbers, and selects one. Ah, here we are. Our bridal suite. He smiles at her, but doesn't open the room. Thanks, she says. We do not really have a bridal suite, he says. It was a joke. Okay, she says. He unlocks and opens the door and shows her in. The carpet is brown shag, and
Harmony.
the lamps on the walls are made out of deer horns.
Welcome
The bedspread is
in.
done in a colored diamond pattern that Mona identifies as Native American, and it looks comfortable enough. The TV, says Parson firmly, does not work. Okay. I will help you move in, he says, and begins to walk back to her car. That's okay, she says. I have all my things in my bag. He stops and peers at her bag. Oh, he says.
Oh, I still
irritated
forgot
and
that
disappointed.
daggum leaf.
All right, then. Is there a good place to eat around here? She asks. There is the diner, but it is likely closed for the funeral. Oh, yeah, I saw. Who died? The mayor or something? Someone important, he says. But he adds, ostensibly. And you didn't go to the funeral? He gives her a cryptic look, face suddenly closed. I do not go to funerals. It would not befit my station. Luckily for you, I do offer a complimentary breakfast. I may provide it now.
Yes, that's
rather than in the
exciting.
morning. I'd be much obliged. Excellent, he says. I will return shortly. Then he turns and shuffles back across the parking lot. Mona's had a lot of weird encounters in her life, but she feels like this one just made top seed. But before she can think on it more, there's a flicker of light in the sky. Startled, she looks and sees that blue clouds have gathered around the mountains behind the mesa. They are small.
Okay, we're gonna
vibrant.
do
Each one flickers with lightning every 30 seconds or so.
these
Which makes the
caladium
mountains
leaves.
look like they're
Caladium leaves. I don't know how you
with
say
a
it.
tangle of blue neon lights. It is a powerful, unearthly sight to see this island of chaos in an otherwise peaceful night sky. It is then that she sees the moon is up. But there is something strange about it. It takes her a few moments to put her finger on it. It's pink, she says out loud. Why is the moon so pink? Parsons' voice comes from behind her. It always is here. She looks and sees the old man has sneaked up on her. He's carrying an aluminum tray with an egg sandwich and sausage that look like they came out of a vending machine. To her amusement, the meal is paired with a Corona and a Pop-Tart. Bon appetit, says Parson. Chapter
Hey,
6.
Barbara. Thank you for the heart me.
Every night it's the same, Bolin thinks. Every night the truckers spill into the roadhouse, reeking of cheap tobacco and old
We're
sweat,
listening to
sleep-deprived and claustrophobic.
American Elsewhere on
half blind to the
Tuesdays.
sight of endless highways. Every night they order the same drinks and demand the same songs and shriek the same half-intelligible catcalls.
Oh, and we're gonna have a givey
There's always some
at
lout that
200K,
gets you hopped
Barbara,
up on whichever
for acrylic
substance is
set of
available that night,
Ohuhu
and
markers,
has to get
acrylic
hauled out and
markers.
spanked in the parking lot.
Oh,
And just 3 months ago, Zimmerman and Dee laid one man out and left him breathing under a timber truck. Yet in the morning, they found him frigid and pale and still, one eye dark with blood. and his
oh,
fingers at
thank
many
you,
angles.
Anne.
The boys admitted they'd been zealous, and the man still sleeps somewhere out in
Okay,
the woods.
RV. I
under the
got
stones and pine
RV33,
needles.
R15.
And sometimes, Bolin wonders who else is out there with him. Then finally, the truckers approach the downstairs girls in stages, and they'll spend the rest of their evening in the back rooms, coaxing favors out of the girls, or the girls coaxing money out of them.
Oh gosh, thank you for the
Sometime
hand
around
heart. Let
3
me
or
get you a
4,
sticker.
They'll come stumbling out of their wretched fog and wander out to the parking lot to sleep in the cabs of their trucks. And then, just before dawn, once she's made all the totals and rechecked the registers,
Oh my.
Mallory will stalk
Oh,
upstairs to
this is
Bolin's
perfect
office
for tonight.
and tell him what the
Read more
books.
books
It's almost always good.
or
Often
listen to
it's
more
very,
books.
very good. And every night, Bolin thinks as he stares out his office window, there is lightning on the mountains and the bulbous red-pink moon. It doesn't matter what phase the moon is in, nor does it matter what the weather's like. These are the things that compose Boland's world. The red-pink moon, the roadhouse, and the blue lightning on the mount. Well, maybe
Thank
not
you.
just those things, Boland thinks. Perhaps a little bit. There will always be the little favors he has to do for the people in charge. But without those, where would he be? Certainly not here, listening to David Dord, occupant of the absolute bottom rung at the roadhouse, except maybe for the downstairs girls. Or some of them, at least. A couple
Thank
of the
you,
whores are
Sylvie,
pretty
for the
candid,
finger hearts.
more so than Dord.
YG610.
Boland turns back to him. What do you mean you think it went well? He asks over the thumping music from downstairs.
Oh, wait, this is YG610.
How does a funeral go well? How would you deem one a success, Dave? Well, I don't know, says Dave. You stick the fucking guy in the ground and hopefully he stays there. Then the preacher says all the appropriate whatnot and you're done. That's how I judge it. Boland blinks slowly. That's a very low bar, Dave, he says. He wishes the roadhouse were not doing such good business tonight. This is a conversation he's been dreading all day, and he wants to hear every bit as clearly as he can. Think, Dave, he says. Think real hard for me. Did anyone say anything? Did anyone do anything at all? Anything out of the ordinary? I'm just curious, Dave. Enlighten me. David Dord, who in his funeral garb looks like a child wearing daddy's suit, simply shrugs.
Are these the guys that had
Tom,
killed the guy in the first
wasn't a
chapter?
hot spot for talking. No one was particularly eager to discuss their affairs or any such fucking thing. As far as you saw it. Yes, as far as I saw it.
Anity, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in.
He is already regretting sending Dord. If he could have, he would have sent Zimmerman, who is in charge of security at the roadhouse, and is always very dependable. But after their little job up on the mesa, Boland knew Zimmerman would be far too hot to send to the funeral. He's given Zimmerman the next 2 weeks off, and hopefully the man is spending his time somewhere indoors and quiet, maybe with one of the house girls, which might make everything a lot
We're
less
almost
quiet.
halfway to our Givey
The other
goal.
two, Norris and Dee, Boland is keeping close to the roadhouse. They're both young, and like a lot of help Boland seems to get, quite stupid. And the other night was their first real trial. Boland needs to know if they're going to crack. So far, Dee
Paola,
seems steady,
thank you for the follow,
which is
man.
surprising. The boy has coasted by on looks and muscles for so long that his mind is too underdeveloped to realize how dangerous their job on the mesa really was. But Norris, well, he isn't so sure. The kid is definitely messed up. Boland doesn't think he should have sent him along at all now, not even as the driver. But he can't really blame Norris. Zimmerman told Boland what happened to Mitchell in that place. The room that just didn't stop. And even though Norris never actually went inside, Boland is aware of how disturbing those kinds of places can be. There are places in Wink you just don't go.
You just don't do it.
But all this means he had no one better to send to the funeral than Dord. Dord is not a man Boland would trust with buttering a piece of toast. He hates looking into Dord's soft, pasty face and seeing those dull little eyes peeping back.
Oh, that's okay.
He wishes now that he had sent Mallory. Mallory would have done a good job and come back with simply piles of information. But because she's so good, Boland has Mallory off doing another little errand tonight. One he is even more nervous about than the funeral. He checks his watch. It should not be long now. So it all went quietly, says Boland. Yes. And nobody mentioned anything of note? Note? Nothing about, foul play? No, says Dord.
Not in Wink.
Boland smiles at him coldly. That seems pretty unlikely, Dave. Why? I thought you said things went well up there. They went well. Well enough, I guess. But they know what's up. He swivels in his chair to stare out the window again. It is a
I feel like I
black
put too
night,
much pink in
a strong
here.
wind, and you can see the ponderosas waving in the blue luminescence of the parking lot lights. They know something's wrong. They just don't know if they can do anything about it. And they can't, right?
Don't got
Boland
me a
stares out
snack.
the window for a moment longer, watching the dancing trees. Bolin is the sort of person who has looked like he's in his late 50s for the past 30 years. He has no hair on his head except for his eyebrows, and a small snow-white goatee.
Oh, shoot.
and
I
his
did this
eyes
the
are
wrong
puffy and
color.
big. His face doesn't emote particularly well. The best expression it makes is one of cynical disappointment.
Okay.
As if he's expected to
I did that the
turn of
wrong.
events,
Oh,
and it
man.
has confirmed his worst suspicions about the world. Luckily for Bolin, or perhaps unluckily,
Thank you,
it's the exact
Buttercup.
expression he needs to make most of the
It was
time.
looking a little sus
But
yesterday.
downstairs, there's the sound of breaking glass and a whoop. Bolin absently says, "Go downstairs and help Norris. Sounds like we've got a real crowd on our hands." "Fucking truckers," says Dord, standing up. "Yes, fucking truckers." He doesn't watch as Dord leaves. He just hears the sudden burst of music as his office door opens, then closes.
I know
He's
they didn't
tried
give me
to
no
soundproof his
snacks.
office as much as possible.
Thank
For
you.
although
I
he
messed
runs
this
a
leaf up,
roadhouse,
but
he
it's
can't
okay. I
stand
guess we'll
the
do it.
country,
We'll make the
especially
best of it.
Nashville country. But it always finds its way in somehow. He opens a drawer in the side of his desk. In the drawer are his two most important
I
fallbacks.
might can go into a
loaded
darker pink. Hold on a
357
second.
Magnum, and 14 bright pink bottles
That
of
might help.
Pepto-Bismol. With a soft
Ooh,
grunt,
for
Bolin
the
plucks out
bubble
one
guts.
bottle, strips the cap of its
Oh,
protective
my.
plastic, and cracks it open. He throws away the cup that came taped to the top. The suggested
marker
dose
is
became
juicy.
insufficient about a year ago, and opens up another drawer. This one containing highball glasses and paper napkins. He takes one glass and fills it to the brim with thick, pink fluid. And then, without a moment of hesitation, he downs the entire thing. He sighs a little as he sets the glass down, its sides now coated with milky pink residue. Perhaps this will mollify the ocean of acid currently swirling. Then picks up the now empty bottle of Pepto, gauges the distance between the desk and the trash can
He is
beside the liquor
fired.
cabinet, leans back in his chair and shoots. The bottle twirls through the air and bounces off the lip of the can to fall clattering to the floor. Bolin lets out another irritated grunt and stands to walk over to it. As he stands, he glances out the window again and stops. The Ponderosas are still dancing outside, and the parking lot is still mostly empty. Will they call tonight? He wonders. They would have to. Too much has happened for them not to drop in. But then they might not. They've been getting harder to predict and understand recently, which is saying something for them. Bolin is not actually a resident of Wink, nor is the roadhouse part of the town. His proximity to it is entirely coincidental. Bolin was told 10 years ago that this highway route would soon be open to more trucking, and so would be a prime spot for a roadhouse. But the people who told him this were quite wrong. All of the traffic to Santa Fe chose a very different route, one that bypassed him entirely. Bolin, desperate, wondered then if any of the nearby towns could possibly sustain the roadhouse. Yet all of them
Oh,
were
shoot.
too
I think
far
I just
away,
zoned out since they said
except, of course,
Pepto-Bismol.
for Wink. For the first few years of his time at the roadhouse, Bolin was
I
not
might have
sure
to go
that
back
Wink
and
still
re-listen a little
existed.
bit.
He'd been told about it by several locals, something about government work decades ago. But he never met anyone from Wink, and he sure as hell didn't sell anything to them. The signpost to Wink never even seemed to lead anywhere. But one morning, as he was cruising through the mountains, wondering what to do with his crumbling business, he looked down and spotted the prettiest little town square he'd ever seen, nestled at the bottom of the valley. It stunned him. He had no idea it was there. It took several hours to find the way down. Perhaps, he wondered, this was why he never saw anyone from Wink. It was too hard to decipher the goddamn roads in or out. But as he drove along the town streets, marveling at this quaint little burg he'd been living right next door to for God knew how long, he began to get a different idea. Wink seemed to be a singularly pleasant place. The sunlight fell different here, and the trees were so big and sidewalks so pristine and white. He actually parked his car and watched a group of boys play baseball. Bolin had no memory of something so blissfully pleasant as that short little game of 3 innings. But he wished he did. Maybe no one left Wink because you'd be crazy to leave. It certainly wasn't a boom town by any stretch of the imagination. But everyone here seemed so content. He eventually noticed a few suspicious glances coming his way, mostly from parents. He realized what an odd figure he must cut, sitting in his bright red Camaro, watching the children play. Some residents, coming in from some errands, actually stopped on their lawns to look at him. No one said anything, but the message was clear. We'll tolerate you for now, but that doesn't mean you're welcome here. Small towns, Boland thought. Always so damn hostile to outsiders. He started the car, pulled away, and watched in the rearview mirror as the town disappeared in the hills. It had seemed an interesting discovery, but a useless one. None of those people seemed like the kind to visit the roadhouse. Yet one day, about 3 years ago, he had a visitor from Wink.
Guess what?
And the damnedest
The summary
thing about
said,
this,
the roadhouse is a quiet
he
town where
cannot
nothing
now
seems to
remember
happen.
what the visitor looked like. Boland remembers the bright light shining down from his office lamps. And there was a man with a briefcase in a chair.
Well, this leaf
in front of the
wasn't
desk.
exactly how I planned
And
it,
Boland thinks he remembers a
but
blue-gray
we saved
suit
it, I
and
think.
a
It don't
Panama
look too
hat.
terrible.
Yet the way the light struck the hat made the face below nothing but shadow. But what the man told him, he remembers very well. Boland eyed this strange, indistinct figure, sitting up ramrod straight in his office chair, and he cocked an eyebrow when the man said, I am told you are a man in dire straits. Well, fuck whoever told you that then, Boland told him. A moment of silence. Yet Boland did not get the impression the man was either intimidated or offended. We have a business opportunity for you, he said. And Boland said, oh? And what
Look,
kind
I'm
of
over here
opportunity
fanning
would
it
that
like
be?
that's going to do anything.
And the man said, please lower your blinds. My blinds? Yes, the blinds on the window behind your desk. Then I will show you. And when he did
Hi,
this, the man
Ness.
opened
Welcome
his
in.
briefcase,
We're listening to
and there,
Audible on
inside,
Tuesdays.
packed tightly,
It's called
was one of
American
Pat's socks and
Elsewhere.
underwear,
Oh,
and
we hit
plastic bags
1,000,
containing a
100,
very bright, clean,
100K.
Yeah.
We're
man said
halfway there.
And Boland listened. Even today, Boland isn't sure where the heroin comes from. Presumably, they have someone somewhere,
That's the
probably
drugs.
Mexico, he guesses, because God knows what's up with the border these days. But Boland, who already did a small amount of dealing when the visitor from Wink made his offer, has now managed to build a fairly respectable little kingdom up here in the mountains and gotten
got
quite rich. It is mostly a ferrying.
Breaking Bad going
He's
on.
not an outlet, but a warehouse. He's also not entirely sure how this happened, or why the visitor from Wink put it all in
Why?
motion. What the hell did Wink, a tiny town out in the middle of nowhere, have to do with the drug trade? Boland does not know. But though he is indisputably the ruler of his little kingdom, he knows there is a bigger kingdom out there, one of which he's but a part. He is not sure who its king is, or even if there is one. He just knows that he makes fortunes only on the whims of someone else, and that he, like Dord and Norris and Zimmerman and Mitchell, who, he has to remind himself, is now out of service, takes orders and follows them without question. Now, it's no longer a question of their turning off the tap on him. Now he wonders what they would do if he refused. Boland's not stupid. He doesn't bite the hand that feeds him. But he has looked closely at the hand.
This page
And
is a
what
little
he saw
intimidating because all the
deeply
greenery. There's so much
There's a reason
greenery.
Boland has never gone back to Wink after that first visit. He wouldn't even go there if you held a gun to his head. He knows what's there now. He walks to the trash can, picks up the bottle of Pepto, and throws it away. As he returns to his desk, he sees there's something on the corner. A soft pink blob of fluid. It must have been flung off the bottle when he made his shot. He wipes at it with a finger. It doesn't come off, but smears. A knock at the door. Come in, he says. The door opens, and in walks Mallory. To his amusement, she has on a floral sundress that is yards longer than anything she usually wears. This wardrobe choice is not incidental, of course. In Wink, her normal garb would attract a lot of eyes and clucking tongues, and entirely too much attention. Mallory scowls at him. What are you smiling at? The head of the PTA, I think, he says. Fuck you. She walks to the liquor cabinet, a heavy canvas satchel swinging from her shoulder, and pours an absolute vat of scotch. Mimicking Boland's own feat with the Pepto, she downs it without even blinking. Mallory is a marvelously talented woman. Boland knows that. Yet she has always been a virtuoso drinker. Back when the Roadhouse was first founded, she was its original downstairs girl, taking the boys riding high off their payday to the basement for a half-hour's indulgence. After the visitor from Wink, the establishment gained customers, and they hired more girls, and she became the downstairs manager, tending to all the needs and issues the girls inevitably had. And to manage it efficiently, Boland knew, you had to have a sharp eye for human weakness, and the ruthlessness and shrewdness to act on it. As such, Mallory has assumed the unspoken role of number 2 at the Roadhouse. She pours herself another, but before she can drink, Boland walks to her and gently takes the glass. How'd it go? Yeah.
Wait, did I just do the same
I got
thing?
it, didn't I? She raises and lowers the shoulder with a satchel. Boland watches her carefully. I did, she says. It went fine. Who did you use? A junkie, she says. Who? Boland insists. A girl named Bonnie, says Mallory. You don't know her. The same girl you used last time? Yes, but I don't know if we can use her again. Boland cocks an eyebrow. And why is that?
Wait, what are we doing?
She's
What are
all
we
screwed
using
up,
her?
Tom, says Mallory. She takes the scotch back and downs it, throat clicking, and grits her teeth as it settles. And not just because she's a goddamn junkie. She knows what we're having her do is fucking weird. She just doesn't know how.
What are we doing? What are they
Boland
doing?
gives a faint, unpleasant laugh.
Did I miss
I'm not
it?
surprised, he says. He takes the satchel off her shoulder and walks back to his desk where he unzips it. Inside the satchel is a polished wooden box, about the size of a cigar box. It has not been taped and tied shut. These precautions are not yet necessary. But he still feels extremely anxious holding it.
Okay, let's go back a little bit. Sorry, I missed it.
And the ruthlessness and shrewdness to act on it. As such, Mallory has assumed the unspoken role of number 2.
I don't know if they said it.
She pours herself another, but before she can...
I listened to that.
Fuck you.
Okay, I don't think they said it.
Visit. He wouldn't even go there if you held a gun.
Yeah, okay. They didn't say it.
Lowers the shoulder with a satchel. She takes the scotch back and downs it, throat clicking, and grits her. But he hears the clink of the scotch bottle against the lip of Lee, the salesman said. This thing is so dense and impenetrable, you could store uranium as a little.
Wait.
He expected that answer. Mallory is not the type to suspend her disbelief for anything.
Now I think I've
Which
gone
is a
too
pity,
far.
Because Boland probably knows more about what is going on in Wink than anyone else, and he knows not to scoff at stories like that. So many of them turn out to be true. He carefully undoes the bronze clasp on the box, takes a little breath, and opens it.
Did I go too far?
Sitting inside on a cushioned interior of dark green velvet is a tiny skull.
Oh.
To most people, it would appear grotesque, but unremarkable. Simply a fleshless, bleached rodent skull like that of a rat or mouse. Boland knows it is actually a rabbit skull, or it appears to be a rabbit skull. He studied their messages, and though they did not state outright what they needed him to get, and what he, in turn, had someone else get for him, he can read between the lines as well as anyone. It only looks like a skull. Boland knows it's really much more than that. He closes the box, rehooks the clasp, and places the box in the safe and shuts it. Then he sighs a little. It's getting so goddamn hard not to bite the hand that feeds him these days. When he stands back up, he
I
sees
believe so,
Mallory looking
yeah.
into the mirror behind the liquor cabinet shelves. She appears a little rattled, which is odd. Boland has seen Mallory take care of stabbings and ODs without even blinking an eye. So the idea.
And I
that
think the
anything
funeral was the
affect
guy
her
that they knocked out in the first
What is it?
chapter 2.
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking about something she said. The junkie? Yeah. She wanted to come with me. Back to here, if you can believe it. But not for a hit or anything like that. She doesn't like being alone at night anymore. She says her dreams have changed. How so? She says she dreams about the same thing every night now. Mallory says faintly, still staring at herself in the mirror. She dreams about a man standing in her bedroom. He's very tall, dressed in a dirty blue canvas suit. And he's got little wooden rabbit heads sewn all along his suit. And his head, she said she doesn't know if it's a helmet or a mask, like an Indian mask or something, but it's all wooden too, all painted up like a rabbit head with two pointy ears. He just stands there, and though she can't see his eyes, she's sure he's watching her. Can you believe that, Tom? Olin is silent. Again, he remembers what Zimmerman told him. There was a light in the trees, and then a man was there, watching them. And they could see nothing about him except 2 points on his head, like horns, or maybe ears. He watches Mallory carefully. He told the boys a little bit about what they were doing on the mesa. Not much, but enough. But Mallory is now coming very close to a truth Bolin would prefer to keep hidden. Come here, he says to her in gestures. She walks over to the desk. Sit, he says, and she does so, curious. Let me tell you what we're going to do here, Mallory, he says. This is some delicate work, and you've handled it delicately. But we're going to need to be even more delicate from here on out. What does delicate mean? Bolin opens a drawer on his desk, reaches in and produces a small plastic baggie containing a white powder. He places it on the edge of the desk before her. You offering me a bump? Mallory asks, entertained. Bolin smiles humorlessly and shakes his head. No, I am not. That shit is not pure, Mal. It is quite the opposite of pure. If you were to partake of that, why, you'd be pale and stiff within an hour. Do you see? Mallory glances at the baggie again. No. Well, let me explain. Sometime soon, not now, but soon, you're going to go back to that girl.
We just need about 50K left. Whoop, whoop.
Right. Bonnie. You're going to go back to her and make her run that route in the tunnels again. She's not going to want to do that, Tom, says Mallory. She's shook up as it is. Well, that's tough, because you're going to make her. She's not going to have a choice, not the way her friend Mallory sells it. Mallory is quiet for a bit. And how is she going to sell it? He smiles again. Mallory's going to say that she's carrying some seriously quality shit. And she'd be all too happy to pass it along if Bonnie does this one little favor again for her, says Bolin. For us. For a while, there's silence, broken only by the whoops from downstairs. Mallory looks back at the little white baggie. And where does that enter into it? She asks. Bolin stares at her balefully with his hooded, puffy eyes. Are you fucking stupid, Mal? He asks. Don't tell me you're fucking stupid. Because I know you. And I know you're not fucking stupid. You're a very smart girl. That's why I keep you around, right? I can't do something like that. But you can, and you will. You're going to do it, Mal. It's going to happen. That girl has too many stories rolling around in her head.
Oh my goodness, come on.
She did some real choice work for us, sure. But things are getting too hot to just leave her walking around. He nods at the baggie. This is the easy way. We don't want to do it the hard way. I know the hard way, Mal, and it's hard on everyone. Mallory looks from the baggie.
Thank you for the rose.
And her eyes gain a steely glint. Who's saying to do this? Is it you, or is it them? Bolin stares back impassively. It doesn't matter. It does matter.
You thought I was talking?
Because it's going to happen, one way or another. So who gives the orders?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Mallory loses a little color.
Welcome
but the steely
in.
glint grows. Bolin is amused and surprised by this reaction. Mal's never personally killed anyone, sure. But he knows she's seen people die. What does it matter, he thinks, whose hand does the actual act? Who's it for? She asks. Who's what for? The skulls. I know who the last one was for. They just buried him today, for Christ's sake.
Okay, I like this.
So who is this one meant for? Her eyes thin. And if you're making me run her again, the next. Bolin, who has been perfectly still throughout this, grows even stiller. Then he stands up, walks around his desk, and sits down in the chair beside her. He watches her with his hooded eyes. disappointed. Because they are not discussing a murder. This is business. And Mal is inconveniencing him. He takes a breath. The air is whistling through his nostrils and lets it out. Then he snatches out with his thick boxer's hands and grabs Mallory's head by the temples. Mallory cries out and tries to push back, but Bolin is extremely strong, and this is a dance he knows too well. He pulls her close enough that his breath washes over her face. Are you going to fucking do it? He asks. Huh? You'd better, girl. You had fucking better.
You better do it.
Because though I need you,
You better.
and I do need you, you got an easy job here. I ain't asking you to put a bullet in her or cut her any.
Oh my.
But I could, and I'd expect you to do it. I'm just asking you to give her a dose. And you are going to give her a dose, Mal.
Y'all are gonna do
Because
it.
like I said, the hard way is hard on everyone.
Do it, right.
But it'll be especially hard on you. Mallory groans.
Okay, I need to add
screams
some of this
and
to
struggles
mine.
against it. But Bolin knows no one can hear over the noise from downstairs. What do you say? He breathes. What do you say, Mal? What do you fucking say?
Oh my.
Then he stops. She stops moving as well. A small white light has just lit up on his desk. Both of them freeze and look. Then they look back at one another, wondering what to do next. Bolin's mouth twists. He shoves her away and stands up. Stay right there, he says. Mallory laughs and looks up at him, grinning. They whistle and you come running, is that it? Bolin makes a move to hit her, and she flinches and raises an arm. But he lowers his hand and adjusts his collar. Stay right fucking there, he says again. And he goes to his closet door and opens it. Behind it is a low, dark hallway with foam soundproofed walls. There is only one light, a bare bulb hanging by a wire from the ceiling at the very end. This bulb is always on.
Get
Bolin
some of
has
these
to change
markers
it
put
every
away.
weeks. Below the light is a very curious contraption. It stands on a small iron pedestal and is protected by a tall glass dome. It has a wide, round, heavy base and a bronze frame, and many small gears and wheels laid against one another. The biggest wheel holds a large roll of white tape, and the machine is clacking and clicking away merrily, writing something out on the tape. Once, decades ago, the machine was used to print out the prices of stocks, recording the falling and rising of fortunes, and making a small pile of financial data on the ground. But Bolin knows that what it's printing now is definitely not stock prices. He shuts the door carefully behind him and locks it. This side of the door has been soundproofed as well. He can't afford to have anyone listening to the conversations he has in here. He takes a breath and walks to the stock ticker. It has just printed out a very small message, composed in neat, staggered writing. He picks it up, trying hard not to notice his trembling hands, and reads, "Who was the girl?" What? Bolin asks. He doesn't direct this to the stock ticker, but to the air just above it. What girl? Which girl do you mean? He wonders if they mean Bonnie, or Mallory, or maybe even some other girl they used for whatever. Bolin has so many plates spinning on so many poles, sometimes it's hard for him to keep them straight. And then, despite all the soundproofing, and no one being nearby that Bolin can see, a response ticks out, as it always does. The girl at the funeral in the red car. I don't know what you're talking about, says Bolin. I had a man at the funeral. He didn't see... He pauses. Then he sighs, shuts his eyes, and pinches the bridge of his nose. Fucking Dord, he thinks. But he dares not say this out loud. Fucking dumb shit, fucking Dord. Didn't see or hear anything, did you? Bolin swallows. You may be right, he says. I apologize for missing this. What would you like me to do? The stock ticker comes to life again. It prints out, "Find out who she is." I will, says Bolin. I promise I will. I'll find out right away and let you know. Is that all you want me to do? The stock ticker doesn't answer. It's not dead, he knows, but dormant.
Okay, we're gonna do the
Sometime,
Birds of
maybe
Paradise.
soon, it will come to life again. He tears off the tape, takes out a lighter, and sets it alight.
Or attempt to. I
Then
can't
he
promise
drops it on
how
the
it's going to
floor and
turn
watches
out.
it wither into ash before stamping it out. The floor is black and ashen there. It has been for years. How many secret orders has he taken here, he thinks? How many
Gosh.
cryptic little messages has he burned?
This is going to be my Birds of Paradise.
Sometimes.
But I'm going to
it's so
color
simple.
these leaves the same way. And then I'm just going to add the acrylic for the flowers.
Have someone put a line of paint on this window. Threaten this man and mention this woman. Or perhaps go trawling through the sewers of Wink, looking for a dark, tiny passageway that ends in a round chamber. And in this chamber will be a pile of many, many little skulls.
Okay.
And you must bring one skull to this person at this place. But you must be so careful not to touch it. And now this. There's someone new in Wink. Something that hasn't happened in years. Bowen missed it. He charges back down out of the hall and storms into his office. Mallory is at the liquor cabinet again, hair fixed and dress arranged as if nothing has happened. She's a creature used to abuse, both the giving and the receiving of it.
Hey, Carla.
Bad news? She asks.
We're almost
Go
to
at
our
your door.
goal.
Bowen snarls. Why? Bowen marches over to her, takes the glass out of her hand, and flings it against the wall. It shatters, leaving a dark stain spreading on the crimson wallpaper. Go and get fucking doored.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this.
God, you will be drinking out of a fucking straw. You hear me? Fine, Mallory says mildly, and with an intentionally slow, graceful pace, walks out the door and down the stairs. Bowen stands in his office for a moment, fist clenched. Then he looks back down the hall at the stock.
Thank you so much. Thank
He
you for the
half expects it to move.
heartbeat.
Some
Wow,
other harrowing
Bill.
little request.
Hey, Shadow. We're
But it
listening to
doesn't.
Audible tonight on
Frankly, it was insane.
Tuesdays.
He shuts the closet door, locks it, and leans up against it, as if there was something behind it fighting to get out. Then he lets out a breath. The stock ticker was installed in his office not long after he made his agreement with the visitor from Wink. There was no explanation offered. The installation crew, all blank-faced little men in gray jumpsuits, just handed him an envelope with his name on it before walking into the roadhouse and going to work.
Yeah, we're going to
Inside
have
was
a
card
givey.
that read, "Pay attention." And for the past 3 years, it's ticked out orders for him now and again, and each time he obeyed, his fortunes improved. Only once did he dare get curious. He examined the cord running to the ticker and followed it throughout the roadhouse, through the walls and across the ceilings and down the stairs. And how did the installation men do that in an hour? Had they been, he wondered, secretly entering the roadhouse during closed hours and laying yet more line? Until it went outside, snaking into the lot behind in a small tin pipe, where it finally ended in the woods, the end of the pipe unsealed and open. When Bowen found this, he stared at it. The pipe went nowhere? How could that be? But his confusion increased when he knelt and peered into the pipe and saw the end of the fraying wire exposed, unconnected to anything at all. The night after he followed the pipe into the woods, the stock ticker printed out a single command, and this time it was familiar. Pay attention. Now, whenever the ticker springs to life, Bowen's heart almost stops. He doesn't know how it receives any signal, but like so many things in his new endeavors, he doesn't really want to know. But sometimes they send someone along to make sure he gets the message. And tonight, as Bowen waits for Dord to come lumbering up the stairs to explain why he missed the arrival of this new girl in the red car, he wonders again if they will come. He walks to the window, but doesn't look out. He shuts his eyes, hoping to see nothing. Then he opens them. There, standing in the center
Cammy,
of the
thank you for the heart me.
farthest parking lot lamp, someone looks back at him. The figure is so far away that it's tiny, but Bowen is sure he can make out a blue-gray suit.
This is part of why I want some colored pencils to do like better details on my leaves.
Lost in shadow. The white hat inclines slightly, then rises up again.
You did Tuesday's audiobook
Then its owner
day.
steps back into the darkness and is gone. Chapter 7. Mona's night at the Ponderosa Acres didn't go well. She found no restful sleep in a place where the air felt so stale and undisturbed. And though she knew there were no other boarders, she never felt alone. And
Look at
sometime
Cammy
around
in the
1:30
fan
she
club
woke.
for 1
But she
month.
finished
Whoop, whoop.
because the whole thing might have been a dream, with the strong conviction that something was wrong. And she went to the window and saw someone standing in the parking lot perfectly still, with his hands at his sides, his face and front darkened by the yellow streetlight behind him. Though Mona felt a great unease at the sight of this person, she wasn't sure if he saw her or not. He might not have been.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
He made her think of an escapee from a mental institution, wandering aimlessly and wondering
Hopefully
what to do
better
with all
luck
this
next
freedom in a strange
time.
new world. She must not have been terribly disturbed by this. She thinks as she fumbles through her morning routine in the motel room, if she went back to bed after. Once she gets herself cleaned up, she goes to see Parson. The morning sky is blindingly blue and the air is crisp and cold. She finds it hard to reconcile this sky with the one last night, dark and wreathed with blue lightning and burdened with the pink moon. When she enters the front office, she sees that the darkness from last night was concealing absolutely nothing. The office is completely empty, save for the card table and the desk. It feels like an awful waste of space. Parson is sitting at the table playing Chinese checkers, as if he's never left the spot. He's too involved in his game to look up at her when she enters. He purses his lips judiciously, scratches a temple, and begins to make a move before suddenly rethinking, his hand darting back as if the checkers were poisoned. He shakes his head, silently scolding himself for considering such a poor choice. "Do you often play checkers by yourself?" Mona asks. He looks up, surprised. "By myself?" he asks. Then he smiles and laughs, as if this is a grand joke. "Ah, I see. By myself. Very good." Mona chooses to change the subject. "Any idea how the probate courts work around here?" Parson sets his coffee aside to think. "I am not sure about probate courts. There is only one court, though, and only one court officer, Mrs. Benjamin." "There's only one officer? How does that work?" "Very well, apparently," says Parson. "There isn't exactly much to do in the courts here. I believe it is overstaffed with just one person, really." "And where is this Mrs. Benjamin?" "In the courthouse. Her office occupies the majority of the basement. You need only find a set of stairs there. Any stairs will do. And go down them. Inevitably, you will find her." "Where's the courthouse at?" Mona asks, slipping on her sunglasses. "It's in the center of the park, which is in the center of the town. Go inward. If you find yourself on the border of town, and it would not take very long."
Oh, we had a sponsored superfan box. Thank you, Christy. Y'all, when that box gets to close to 0, you need to be tapping on it. Let's see who wins. Y'all give Christy a follow. Can we get her pinned?
"Are you hungry?" asks Parson earnestly, as if
I
her allowing
appreciate
herself
that.
to be hungry would be an abominable crime. "I can spare you another..."
I'm sorry it just took me this whole time to notice. Y'all click on the box when it opens. Get a free month's
As Mona has
super
picked the habit
fan
of morning
subscription.
meetings, she politely declines. "When's checkout time?" Parson appears to debate getting up and going to his desk and rifling through his cards and papers again, but instead he just shrugs.
Oh, Sylvie! Yay! I'm gonna write your name down, Sylvie. Oh, hold on. Let me pause this for a second.
"I don't expect that they'll let me have the house."
And I need to back it up like 30 seconds because I've been talking. I'm going to write your name down because after the live, I'll send you some information about all the perks of the superfan. Our superfans actually have a lot of perks, so you're going to enjoy it. Thank you, Christy. Y'all give Christy a follow. That was so sweet. We're almost to our 200K tap goal. At 200K, we're going to be doing a 24 pack of Ohuhu acrylic markers. They look like this. They come in a pack though. They're sponsored by Amber. They're all kinds of colors. This is just an example. They're the Ohuhu Nahuku. So y'all give Amber a follow. Say thank you for sponsoring that. I'm just hosting it. She's so kind. And actually she was talking about doing another one at 2:50, but I have to get off at the end of this one because I'm getting tired. So she was wanting to give even more love, but we'll save them for Thursday night. I'm excited. Thursday night we have a color along where we're working in the Doodly Bugs book. If you enjoyed listening to the Audible, we're going to be doing it every Tuesday night starting at 6:30 Central Time. Thursday, we're going to be working in this book. This is our last night working on The Princess and the Frog. It'll also be 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Central. But if you want to join along, next week we'll be starting a new page. The super fans have voted on the next page. So Thursday night, not only will we have giveaways that night, but I'll tell you the next page we're going to work on. So if you want to join, now is the time. It's free to join. You just have to get the book. If you want any information on that, you can get with Amber about the book. If you want to join our Discord, where I give you all the information every Sunday, I tell you the colors you're going to need for Thursday. That just gives you a little bit of planning time. You can join our Disco. It is also free. There are a few exclusive rooms for super fans, but if you want to join that, you can get with Franny B. Franny B, can you get yourself a pen? She has all the info on the Disco. Amber has all the info on the books. And really, you could message any mod if you're more comfortable with one over another, or you're more familiar with one over another. You know, you really can message any of them, but that's their specialties. And thank y'all for coming and hanging out and listening to a book. I know it's not the funny hooting and hollering that we usually do, but it was nice to kind of just sit in color with you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and play this for a little bit longer until we get to our Givey goal. And I love how this page is turning out. I like how the different plants are coming along. And I always get a little nervous when I got a lot of greenery, because I'm like, okay, how can I make all the greenery look like its own thing, but without looking like green threw up on the page? You know what I mean? So I think it's coming along good, and I'm really excited to do. I probably won't do it tonight because it's so late, but this is going to be a bird of paradise. I'm going to try. So the leaves are going to look similar to this. I'm going to draw some flowers, but I don't know if I'll get to that tonight. But thank you so much. Yes, Sylvie, it'll come. The link will come with all the information that I send you. So immediately when I get off the live, I'll send all that to you. Yes, Barbara, it was nice. I enjoyed it. It was nice. So, okay, I'm going to play this while we finish our tapping. And thanks again to Amber for sponsoring the giveaway, and to Christy for sponsoring a Superfans subscription. That was very kind of you.
Of the town. Go inward. If you find yourself on the border of town, and it would not take very long, then you've missed it. You can't give me any street directions? I could, says Parson, but they wouldn't be as good. Fine, says Mona, and thanks him. Are you hungry? Asks Parson earnestly, as if her allowing herself to be hungry would be an abominable crime. I can spare you another complimentary breakfast, if so, even though you've already eaten yours. As Mona has kicked the habit of morning beers, she politely declines. When's checkout time? Parson appears to debate getting up and going to his desk and rifling through his cards and papers again, but instead he just shrugs. Whenever you check out, I suppose. Is it okay if I leave my stuff here until I figure out how long I'll be staying? I don't expect that they'll let me have the house too easy. But Parson has glanced at his board of checkers again and spied some brilliant move hidden among the pattern of marbles. With an impatient wave, he returns to the game and the unoccupied seat across from him, and doesn't notice when Mona leaves. As Mona drives across Wink, all the sprinklers start to come on. Not instantly, but in a slow, graceful procession, like water jets in a huge fountain, starting at the corner of one block and moving down to the next. In the morning light, the streams of water take on a white glow, and when they begin waving back and forth, each one a little more delayed than the last, Mona feels like she's watching a synchronized swimming performance. It isn't until she's near the end of the block that she realizes the idea of watering a lawn here is strange. They're in the high desert mountains, with barren scrub less than half a mile away. It feels impossible that you should find so many soft, verdant lawns lining the streets. And Mona glances up at the mountains.
Thank you, Franny.
To confirm they're still there. All around her, the town is coming to life. An old woman wobbles out on her porch with a watering can to fuss with a splendid bougainvillea that appears to need no attention at all. Fathers climb into their sedans and trucks and rarely their luxury cars and slowly cruise out onto the cement streets. Eventually, Mona realizes she doesn't think of them as just men. They're all fathers. They have to be. For why else would they wear such bland but imposing suits and plaid shirts and choose such stolid, unassuming hairstyles? For God's sake.
The lamp.
Smoking a pipe. On one street, a clutch of aproned mothers herd their children out.
Thank you for the follow.
Each child swinging a tiny tin lunchbox. Mona slows a little as she passes them. Though she wants to ignore it, the perfection of the scene is powerfully striking. No, she thinks.
Woo! All right. We're going to stop that there. Let me do, I'll start it again once the Givey has started, but, I should have got it down on the back end. I apologize. Thank y'all again for all the taps and all the things. One night on Thursday, y'all come ready because we're going to break records. I think the highest taps we've gotten is 315. So we breaking records Thursday night. Get your naps and get your taps. Okay. Charge your taps and get your naps. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes. Goal 350. Okay. Sorry. Let me focus. Okay. Focus. Okay. Oh, hoo. 24 pack acrylic pens. Well, they're markers, but okay, we're going to do follow host. And now with the minimum watch time, we don't have a comment, but I am going to do that since y'all have been hanging out and tapping so much. So we're going to do a 3-minute watch time, but not a one. Okay, there we go. We're just going to do 10 minutes because your girl is tired. Your girl is tired. Okay. Amy with the 200 comments. Whoop, whoop. Okay, it's published. So if you don't see it pop up on your screen, oh, wait, it's not published. Sorry. Okay, now it's published. If you don't see it pop up on your screen, you might need to scroll out and scroll back in and let it refresh. So, yes, celebrating it in the first page of our first color along in style. So here we go. Hit the shopping bag. It's for U.S. residents only. That's TikTok rule. And then, again, it's from Amber. So, y'all, make sure y'all give her a follow. And she's going to be the one you want to contact to get your information. So, I'm going to let this play out a little bit longer. Well, actually, let's just do music because I'm sure a bunch of, people will be coming in and out with the Givey, and we'll continue the book next Tuesday. Yay, Crystal. Oh, we're just going to listen to some music to finish the night out. And if you enjoyed the Audible, I will not listen to it until next Tuesday with you guys. It is good. I told you it was good. I haven't read it though in so long that it's almost like it's new again to me. Truly. It's like I'm reading it for the first time again. I can't believe we got to chapter 7 though. Goodness gracious. We're going to have to be thinking about our next book already. Thank you. Y'all get enter that Givey. And then tomorrow's Wednesday. Since I'm out of work, I may get on a little bit tomorrow morning, like midday. I may not. I don't know. Don't let me lie to you. But I for sure won't be on tomorrow night. Wednesday is my night off. So I won't see you guys again at 6 until Thursday night at 6. That's our color along. Oh, Steph, right? Oh, Crystal, we would definitely get kicked off of TikTok for that one. Even though there's people doing 50 Shades of Grey at night on here anyways, because I've seen it. But you know how we are. We'll be getting kicked out of here. Yes, it's only Tuesdays. We just have so much else going on the other nights. Moo Moo's After Dark. Christy leveling up in the fan club. Whoop, whoop. And look, Steph, what I might do is let everybody kind of anyone in the Discord kind of recommend some books, and then I'll dwindle them down and let the super fans vote on it on the next one, because man, we got through a lot tonight. Look, next Tuesday we might have to start earlier than 6, y'all, because I'm worn out, and Amber, we still had more we wanted to do. Ooh, okay, hold on, Chicklet. Okay, so I started Songbird, Snakes, and what is it? Songbirds and Snakes, or Ballad of the whatever. And I haven't finished it. So, ooh, we need to do that one. And then we could do Sunrise on the Reaping. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Why couldn't I think about that? Okay, it is the new Bobbie Goods summer break. She was sold out of it, but she was supposed to be getting it back in stock, but I don't know if it's in stock yet. Ooh, sounds good, Steph. Y'all make sure you're getting that Givey, sponsored by Ambert. Look, the only sad thing about doing the watch time is we can't have a funny comment. I was having fun with the funny comments last night. Yes. We could. Right, that would work great. Elizabeth, thank you for the follow. Y'all don't forget to get in that giveaway. We're doing a giveaway 24-pack of Ohuhu acrylic markers, the Nahuku, sponsored by Brady Soto. Y'all go give him a follow. Just kidding. Sponsored by Amber, which is funded by Brady. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. I'm almost done. So don't forget, I'll be reminding y'all in the Discord, get you a nap and charge your taps for Thursday. Because we're having big goals, big celebrations Thursday. Nope. Nope. And thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Even with this is how it normally is. If you're new here, this is how we usually are. We are usually hooting and hollering. But Tuesdays is our one night to just relax and just, it's calmer, in case you prefer that. Maybe hooting and hollering ain't your style. Oh no, Chicklet, did it let you come back in and enter? Shelly. Oh, look at the little heart me. Thank you. The most taps I've had was 315. And so I think Thursday we're going to shoot for, ooh, should we do 350 or should we just do 500 and do half a mil? Okay, good, Chicklet. Don't ask Amber because she'll say go big or go home. And I'm over here like, ooh, let's just do 350. And she'll be like, 500, baby. 500, baby. I already knew it. Thank you, Shelly. Chicklet says 400. Look, Megan said, not yet. I don't have my tapper yet. I think as long as you are within the time frame, you should be able to. Oh, that would be nice, Crystal. That would be so kind of you. Yes, look, I'll message you after. Well, if you don't mind, I'll message you tomorrow because I'm tired. Yes, I have a tapper in my showcase. It looks like this. Because every Thursday is going to be our tap night, okay? And you put it on your phone and you turn it on. And that way you can be hands-free. I would not do it over like 18 because you can. I usually put mine on 15 or 16. And it clips to the side of your phone and it taps for you. That way you can be hands-free. But if you go too high, it will mark you as spam and your taps won't count. And you can get, TikTok will get on to you. So just be mindful of how high you have it on. But you can, I like it because I can sit there and support my favorite creators and like be hands-free because I'm a multitasker. So I could be washing dishes or folding clothes and my tapper's going, or I can be coloring and my tapper's going. So it's super helpful. Have you, Chicklet? I know, Chrissy. Chrissy said, hold on a minute. She's like, what? But I have one. They do have a Bluetooth one. It's a little more pricier. And I haven't tried it, but it is in there in case you want to use it. But I like, that one's a little cheaper. Oh my goodness, we're about to have a winner. What did Austin say? I didn't even see his comment. Having a tapper is crazy work, Austin. Well, and that, I'm sorry. Steph! What? Girl! Lucky duck. Austin, I was about to say something really funny, but really mean. I'm not going to do that to you. Way to go. You're just mad because you didn't win, Austin. Love you, though. Congratulations. Yes, I'm just going to finish this one little piece here, and then I'm jumping off. Acting like you didn't want those acrylic markers. Yes. Here, I'll pin it real quick for anybody that's interested and you want to save it for later. But this is my tried and true right here. Maybe. Is it sold out? Where my tapper at? Oh, that's recommended. I was like, hold on a minute. Okay, here it is. $10.99. There's probably a coupon. I'm going to put it right here for y'all. Put it and save it. Save it for when you're ready. You won't regret it. And I will see you guys Thursday at 6 p.m. for our big finale. I'll give y'all a minute to just look at that tapper and then I'll head out. Yes. I'm so excited for Thursday, y'all. Thank y'all so much. For real. I love y'all. We've had a good time. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love. Woo! Crystal, Patricia. Thank you so much. We celebrate that around here. Oh, I am thankful for today. That's perfect. I'm going to give that one for Christy. And then we have one, be grateful. I'm going to give that one to Patricia. B, thank you for the follow. Because I am grateful for y'all and I am thankful for today. Oh, and you know what, Christy? I should have given one already because of the sponsor. Let's see, purchase plus sponsor. Thank you so much. And Patricia. All right, guys. If you didn't get the tapper yet, it's in my showcase. So once I head off, you can head on over there, or you can just save it, put it in your cart for later. It's great. So, all right, love y'all. See y'all Thursday. Bye. Good night, everybody.